And we did it! Ha ha! Woo! Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is like our first show. Every time. Every day is
this is
episode
show
1.
1.5.
It is. That's the best part about this show.
0.5.
Yeah, well, every episode's episode 1. We're a year in, so yeah, probably 1.25. But what's nice is that if you've missed other episodes, it doesn't matter. We're not better in the older episodes, so don't worry about it. It's probably just as bad. You know?
I'm thinner if you want to see me thinner.
That's untrue.
Nah. I have numbers to prove it, unfortunately.
Well, you're getting that old quarantine 35, as they say.
Yeah, let's go with that.
What's up, Gozer? You made it. How's it going, man? Cheers. I don't have a drink for you.
Cheers.
Fuck. Fuck. I was supposed to get a drink straight away. I didn't do it.
What's in your glass, Mark?
My glass
It's currently empty.
So we got the drink and we made a joke, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and then now the joke's not as funny and it's horrible. But I've got Gentleman Jack.
Yeah.
It's how we're starting the show.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't make that shit happen, man. How's I supposed to know? Let's see. Going great. Slacking on your drink. What do you got? What are you drinking there, Kev?
I got a Hop Knot IPA from Four Peaks up in Phoenix.
That was a lot there. Hot Mott?
Hop Knot IPA.
I think he's saying Top Knot.
Hop Knot.
Oh, Hop Knot. Huh. This is going well.
That's what I said.
Yeah. As always, looking for sponsorships, looking for cease and desist. Gentleman Jack, if you know anybody who works there, let them know I'm drinking their shit live on the air. And I can talk good about it or I can talk bad about it. It's up to them. Let's see. What's in your... I'm getting aggressive with this wanting a sponsorship or cease and desist. Like, at one point, I'm going to tip the scales. We did utilize... There was that Jameson survey that we got on the bottle where it's like, tell us what you think. And we definitely use that as a platform to ask them to sponsor our show. So we definitely sent in videos and stories and links and said, hey, I know you're looking for what we think of the drink, but how about you just send us more? So we'll see how that turns out.
And we'll drink it.
Yeah. Clump, what are you drinking?
Lukewarm tap water. If we want to get sponsored by like Maytag or something like that, be real cool.
Maytag would be
like,
good.
Fridge. Yeah, fridge that put out cold tap water. My house has an artificial well, so water in the summer comes out hotter than you would expect.
We're definitely losing viewers.
Why?
It's not refreshing. It's warming. It's like coffee without.
Yeah. What's with? So it's like it's not bean juice. It's just the juice. So what's an artificial well?
So like, it's almost like having it in a water tower, but at a lower level. So
That would be a normal well.
no, it's above ground. And
It's above ground. It's like an above ground pool with it's a giant water balloon in your
it's
backyard.
It's like a giant. No, it's not for us. It's for this entire area of town. But it's like a giant,
So it's
big
lower
old
than a
ass-
water tower, higher than a well.
yeah, it's above ground. It's like a giant fucking oil tank that serves the entire neighborhood I'm in. And during
I
the
don't like
summer,
this.
that water comes out hot. No, I don't either.
Yeah, no, I don't like any of this.
No, I like none of it.
Yeah, no, it sounds awful. It sounds gross. It sounds like you're getting rust in your water. Not a fan. I mean, I don't know why you like. So it could be a water tower. They just ran out of a tower to put it on. They didn't want to build the legs. That's like bullshit. You got lazy. It's like, we'll just set it here. We'll just set the water tower here, set it on the ground, pipe it, and set.
The instructions came in 2 booklets. The second booklet was building the tower. They got that, and then they got this book and another shipment. They're like, oh, that makes sense. That's why all those metal fucking sticks are there.
Yeah, also, Gozer makes a really good point in the chat. Based off of the way that you are, Clump, it probably did used to be an oil tank, maybe not even washed out. So, a lot's happened in the wrestling world as it were. It's a bit crazy, man. It's everything is. Wrestling Twitter's not what it was a month ago, man. It is a lot less memes right now, to be honest.
Except for us.
Except for us, we're still jiffing it. Clump, what do you think about everything that's going on?
It's hard. The positive is that we've gone from, I think any one of us could have said 2 years ago or 3 years ago, an event like this occurring, we would have heard the person shouted down. Victims be, just pushed back, silenced. It says a lot that people are being taken seriously. And it says a lot that the community has had so many positive voices. We've heard a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different types of abuse come out. That said, it's also hard because as a fan of wrestling, it hurts to see the character you might fall in love with be, destroyed by the performer's actions.
Oh, yeah.
That's like to me, like it's you have people that you truly, you're like, oh, this person's awesome, and you like invest in them, and then you find out that the person, that wears the trunks is a piece of shit,
Yeah.
and that hurts. That makes it hard. It makes it, difficult to watch their stuff. It's not unlike a lot of, performers in other areas of entertainment we've seen where it can be difficult at times to watch their material or hear them in that same light anymore because of transgressions we've heard that the performer has had. So
Yeah. Kevlar, have you been catching a lot of what's going on?
I've read a couple of the stories and accusations and stuff like that, and it's kind of crazy, like the snowball effect, where one comes out, then another, and another, and another, and
Well, it's also kind of like, it's more, I mean, maybe more of a ripple effect where it's, one small voice can really impact others to speak out and say, we're not going to sit back and allow this to be a big issue moving forward, I think,
yeah.
God, dude, I mean, I don't get it, Kev. We did audio testing for so long yesterday, and somehow that room is so much louder than the room you tested in yesterday. I keep hearing your fan blow, and yesterday you stood right next to it. You just stood in front of it and said, "How's my fan sound?" I said, "I can't hear it at all." It was incredible. And then now I just keep hearing the fan come by, and it's insane. It's insane to me. I don't understand how the back room is like a bomb shelter for some reason, where everything echoes. I don't get it.
I'm in Clump's artificial water tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this water tank.
Yeah. All right, I turned it off. I'm gonna be sweating a lot this show.
That does sound nicer. I don't know, man. This is bogus, dude. We got to find out a better way. I just got to get you one of those. I bet you one of those handheld SeaWorld ones. Probably can't even get one of those anymore. But the little Mister ones.
Yeah.
Can we give one of your kids allowance to just spray you with a super soaker occasionally?
Yeah. And he just no sells it. He's just standing there, just hits them, just soaks them, and he just continues drinking.
Yeah.
So here's, I guess maybe this is, so we're hearing more and more of this come out. This is the part that I have a hard time buying into. I have a hard time buying into that nobody knew. That feels impossible. If all of this is happening, then everyone is willingly turning a blind eye. I think that what it comes down to personally, as I've been thinking about it and reflecting on it some, is I think so much of this has to do with where wrestling has come versus where it used to be. I think there's no longer checks and balances that used to be there in territory days. You didn't just go to a wrestling school that was opened up by a dude who just watched a bunch of wrestling and had a trampoline in his backyard and, quote, self-taught himself and never went to a school. You had to earn your way into the business. And I think that there was a lot happening there. I think that there's been a misunderstanding and a mistranslation of what paying your dues means, and that the wrestling business is hard. And I think it's opened up an environment where these predators are able to like really flourish. What's up, Clump?
I will say, like, I agree with you in the sense that as it's opened up, you've had more people come up. Though I would say what we're seeing in my eyes is the remnants of what wrestling was in some ways coming and rearing its ugly head.
I think
Because
it's
we've had,
I think that there's always been rough shit and dark shit that's happened in there. We wouldn't have Dark Side of the Ring. We wouldn't have some of these crazy stories. Wrestlers always thought they were rock stars. But I also think that there's a misinterpretation of what the business used to be versus what fans perceived it to be and have made it become. You know what I mean? A lot of what we're getting, think about it now. If you wanted to go get trained by someone, who are you going to go see? You know what I mean? Someone in town who never made it, who trained people who maybe went somewhere else. Like, where are you going to go? Where back in the day, you were always taught by somebody who'd been in the business for a long time to steer you in the right direction and stuff.
good.
I don't think that this stuff was never around. I just think that at this point, there's no checks and balances on getting into the business. Now this wrestling is for everyone has allowed literally everyone in, where it used to be not for everyone. It was, assholes got in for sure. I think it was a different brand of asshole. I don't know. Maybe I'm just way off on that.
The one thing I'd say, like thinking about it and how, like my view of it has been, in a sense, I agree with you that as wrestling's opened up, anyone can do this, and you can be some guy who's like, yeah, I've done this for 20 years, and there's not really much in the way of checks and balances. You know, you can say you've been touring and done it and never made it, but we're going to go to your school, and you can have people take advantage. But in a lot of spaces, that's happened. You have, the as acting increased, I'm sure you had, well, there's always been the person who, as something's proliferated, there's been more of a market for people wanting to be into it. There's going to be people taking advantage, and I think that's what's happening here. The model photographer, the casting director situation. I think when I say I think this is part of it is we've heard stories, unfortunately, of promoters and people in the past that have abused their power, and it has been abusive and sexual. Those allegations in some cases are, we don't have proof, but we've heard stories. Right now, I think what's happening, or I want to believe what you're saying in the sense that I hope that this is just something new, but I think what might be happening is it's coming out as people are more aware. I think that there have always been, most schools are great, most places are great. There's some terrible places that are taking advantage. And right now, though, we have the ability for people to come out and they're talking about it. I don't think it's new, though. I think that there are in every place, but in wrestling, I'm sure that mystique and hiddenness has really created the idea of being brought in or paying your dues. I mean, it wasn't sexual, but you told us about the story of somebody being rather aggressive with you about paying your dues at an event, I believe, about like doing this or doing that. It's not anything comparable to this, but there's a lot of weird attitudes with it, and it's wrong.
Yeah, and I think I'm not saying new is in this year. I'm saying new is in the last couple decades. As kayfabe went away, as the territories went away, as WWE became national, WCW goes away, you only have a few places that will pay people to even perform. And then it wasn't until this new wrestling boom where people started finding money in it, and people are able to get into the business without any kind of background check. Not to say that would have solved all this. It probably wouldn't have. But places that don't do checks are places people will find a safe haven.
I agree with that. I think that's fair. I think I mistook the timeline as being like in the last decade or 5 years. No, but I think, yeah, within the last 30 or 40 years, we've seen this change and we've seen, a lot of people come out of nowhere. And there's been great schools that have come out of it. There's been fantastic people build their own things, but we've also, unfortunately, this about of what's happening here isn't new. There have been other stories we've heard. It's just
Yeah.
that we're hearing a lot now, and it's upsetting.
Yeah. And I think that there's been a huge shift away from what wrestling was and what pro wrestling means. A little tidbit that comes to mind, Cornette was talking about when he was coming up really young and being on shows. He talked about being paid at all of them and how everyone on the card was paid at every show. You made more money as you got further up the card, and you made more money as you were part of bigger things, but you never were in a wrestling ring and not paid because you were a professional now. And it's really come away from that, where someone can just have a ring, tell everyone to volunteer, everyone will self-teach each other, and now we've put on a show where someone is accountable to absolutely no one, and no one's getting paid. I just that environment in and of itself sounds like a breeding ground for issues to begin with. Not necessarily saying, oh, this is clear, this was foreseeable. I'm not saying that at all. But you went from a business where people wanted to get into the business because it was a way to make a living. It was a profession. You didn't become a professional wrestler and make no money for the first 10 years. That was not a thing. And it also used to be, because of the way that it used to be, with the training being that it was, and the people who trained who they did, and getting your smartening up into the business. You look at guys like Stone Cold and Taz talking their podcasts about timelines from when they started to when they broke big. There was a 5-6 year gap there. That's it. You had about 5 to 6 years in any territory before you were probably a name that people knew and you were making money, making decent money. Now the timeline's closer to 15, 16 before you become a name that people recognize and you suddenly have credibility. Like, that's a huge shift in and of itself, you know?
No, I do agree with you that I've always found it a bit odd, the idea of work for exposure. And in
Mm-hmm.
a sense, what this is, yeah, you get to get seen. No, really. There's not scouts out. You might make a thing and record it yourself, yeah, but you could do that anywhere. You could do that in a lot of ways. This feels like kind of a marked place for exploitation, and it's in a lot of gig systems where you hear the idea of, yeah, you can, I'll give you exposure. A lot of people in a lot of different kind of journeyman professions come into that, and I don't think it's right. I really
Yeah.
don't think it's right here, you know. And I think, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be paid like a crazy amount. No, but a cut of what you're doing for a couple hours work, you know,
Yeah.
like
And these places aren't even bringing in money like those other places were. But even then, just think about it from the perspective of, if becoming a professional wrestler 20, 30 years ago meant starting a job, because that's what it was. It was a job. You were getting paid. You weren't getting paid well, but you could have an apartment. You know what I mean? You could have a shitty car to drive you places. There was ways to save money while you made money. Now it's costing people money to be a wrestler. They're gonna the people who stick around are either people who really love it, have the money to be able to support that from somewhere else, or people who are getting something else out of it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not getting paid for 15 years, what am I getting? Some of these fucking sickos have a haven. That's what they have.
An agenda.
They have an agenda. They have a place to hide. This is great for me. I can travel the world and do these horrible things. I mean, they probably don't think of it as horrible things, but in their mentality, this is great for me. I'm exposed to all these things I want to be exposed to. I can get away with all these things. I can live my taboo life. Like, if I'm not getting
Well,
paid like these other guys, then maybe that's what they're looking for.
and it does, in being a journeyman profession, there's a lot of hallmarks of things that can be very easy to create a cycle of abuse. If you're going into a town or going into a place and disappearing, that's a very scary thought.
Yeah.
That can, you can do a lot of damage and leave. And even if it's not, that's, again, this is not saying that this is what everyone does. This is very, very few people, but there's a potential for somebody to do a lot of damage if that's what they want to do or if that's what they're aiming at. And then with a lot of these stories, we're also hearing that people were minors.
Yeah.
Um, if if any one of us as a kid, you know, were were told, yeah, this dude he really wants to, or this dude or this performer, they want to hang out and get to know you and talk to you, and they're being really cool and polite. It's understandable to
Yeah.
think, wow, that this is cool. They're friendly. You don't know, and something horrible can happen. Um, something horrible evidently has happened, unfortunately. Um,
Yeah. Gozer's in the chat. Isn't sure exactly what happened or what's being referred to. On Twitter, there's a hashtag going around right now, hashtag speaking out, where a lot of indie wrestlers, there's been a couple mainstream, but primarily not. Matter of fact, Keith Lee put out a statement today about an incident where he had been taken advantage of, which was pretty remarkable to see. But he's also fresh to the mainstream and's been indie for quite some time. But a lot of the indie performers are talking about abuse that they've endured by trusted performers and trainers and people of authority, and at varying ages, but primarily very young. And it's just been this kind of whirlwind the past couple days of the speaking out, where they're getting their voice out there, and we're finding out, who's really who behind the curtain, as it were.
I think the other thing that's happened, so it's also calling out behavior, and it's not just calling out behavior it, it's not just calling out these terrible extreme acts. It's also calling out just some of the humor that's utilized that's just really out there and not great, or what people call it. Like,
I think also, to kind of go back a little bit on why I put such an emphasis on the idea of that everyone's allowed to train whoever they want right now, is there's a misunderstanding or even just a lack of knowledge at all of what paying your dues means, what this business is a hard business means. And you put the wrong people in charge of other people and tell them, oh yeah, you're going to help them pay their dues and they're going to learn this business is hard. You're really opening them up because they have no idea what that means. But you've given them the carte blanche to go ahead and do what they want now, because it can always be written off as, oh, they're just paying their dues. I can be abusive. I can be mean. I can do this because that's just part of the wrestling business. It ain't ballet, brother. But no one knows what that stuff means if you've never actually been in the business and you've never got trained by someone who's in the business. You don't know the history of those dues. You think that means a bunch of stuff happens outside of the ring, where a lot of stories I've heard is about people getting receipts in the ring, people getting too rough with an opponent, and that opponent showing them that's not what's going to happen here. Like, a lot of those stories they're not these types of stories when it comes to them paying their dues. So
yeah,
I think that, you put the wrong people in there, and then that just feeds an environment where now someone's in charge who feels like they can get away with whatever they want. They've created this environment where that's okay, and hey, I can make friends with that person because me and him seem to have similar interests, and they're going to put me in charge now, and the like. And I think that's how that stuff breeds into the crazy mess that we have now. A culture. An actual culture.
it's
Dork Chop made it. Cheers, Dork Chop.
Cheers.
You can't see me, but
Yeah, he says there's been a shitty last couple of weeks, and what's really sad, I think, too, is that honestly, if there were bookings happening right now, and the indies were open, then we might not even be hearing about this abuse because people would be more afraid to come out and risk working. And I 100% agree.
Yes, I think if there was a way for independent promotions and performers to pull the attention away from the words into action, we would not hear anything of what's happening. We would hear, we would hear a lot. We would hear, oh, this is that, whatever. It's just a quick thing, and that sucks. To what you said too, I think it truly, in terms of, I think I agree with you 100% there. I think when you create a culture of what dues are and how you pay them, and that, you know, essentially, whenever I've heard in any job the idea of paying dues, I don't know why it's utilized anymore. I've never heard that in a good capacity anymore. It does. I've
Yeah.
heard training. I've heard it like, you know, taking someone under your wing. I've never heard paying one's dues in a good way. It always, to me, now to mind, or brings to mind, a physical injury, like, oh yeah, you're gonna get fucked up doing this, or something worse, that you're gonna get used to get there, that you're gonna, you know, you have to bring more to get it, and it never, to me, makes sense. You know, if becoming uh, a Chevy repair, like a Chevy technician at a dealership meant, yeah, we're gonna stick this tie rod up your ass, I don't think we'd have many people working at like a dealership. You know,
Yeah. Well, you'd have a very specific people working at a dealership.
I'd be your foreman.
Oh, oh, this just in.
Producer here.
Oh,
Oh, wow, you don't have anything. So on that point, and I'm off screen for those of you viewing live. So I do have a military background, and I was a aircraft mechanic. And so when Clump says paying your dues, and it's all about um, journeyman, I completely agree, because in my experience, in a mainly male dominated or historically dominated industry, it was very much like that, and it very much was culture bred, so that that I mean, you did see a lot of like hazing kind of stuff, and the newer people coming in, all they could do was basically go with it, because unlike other jobs, you couldn't get out of it. You're in a contract, you're in the military, and it was just, it was crappy. It was really, really crappy. And unfortunately, what I saw was the newer kids coming in would pick up on these horrible habits, or these like things that they knew that they could get away with, as they got their qualifications. And I mean, it was pretty crazy to see that you would see these, what we would call shitbags. You'd see these shitbags take on some of what they were trained, and that was kind of the danger, in that the people that wouldn't speak out, or that wouldn't do anything differently, it wouldn't change. It was just this cycle of horrible culture after horrible culture, and you see that over years, and it was pretty amazing to see, even in that environment, because you think, oh, this is a safe environment, this is military, this is everyone's here for the right reasons. And unfortunately, when it's a culture-based issue like this, it's not how it works out. Everyone isn't there for the right reasons, or for a similar reason. So I see a lot of similarities, and it's pretty, of course, it's like really alarming.
yeah, and you get like this kind of machismo background type stuff, or this like these
Heavily, yeah.
this masculinity like identity issues, where they go through something bad in their version of hazing, and all they can think to do to make that better is make sure it's worse for the next guy. Instead of saying I want it to be better for the next guy, it's how can I make it worse for the next guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That I would see a lot too, in that once people got qualifications, they felt entitled. They felt entitled to, oh, you think it's bad, oh, this is where I went through, you're going to feel the same thing. And it's on that kind of note that you get these really twisted people that just really get off on power kicks, is what it boils down to.
Right, and I think that when a lot of the old timers talk about paying their dues and they tell their stories, a lot of it has to do with, running 3 or 4 shows in 2 days. I mean, Piper had more matches in 1 year than there were days in the year. The guy was doing 2 or 3 matches in a day, and driving across country every night, not going home for 100-something days, and still not making enough to buy them in their own house. You know what I mean? But when you think about how the business was hard, it was physically hard, and you weren't always in a good ring, and you didn't know what city you were going to be in all the time, and you didn't know where you were going to be, and you're probably going to end up in a shitty hotel with 6 other people, and they've turned that into something else entirely, you know?
They've made it like a point of pride, and then they've let that exist and continue. And if anything become worse, it's, in so many spheres you see some level of this. Like, it makes me think of being a freshman in high school. I'm sure everyone had the freshman versus seniors thing, and it's stupid. And it's a similar attitude, or as Gozer refers to, it brings to mind college frat hazings. And when you do that, then all you want is to perpetuate that. You want to, as producer said, and just continue that on. Like, yeah, I got it. I'm gonna give it, and that's bullshit. The other thing too with this that you bring up that I connect with when I mention Journeyman is, so when I've made, in terms of what we've done here, this is the most profitable use of my degree ever. And I say that in the sense of when I went to school in journalism, so much of what you do and you're expected to do to build up is to work for exposure. And it's bullshit. It's wrong. There should be no expectation of that. If, I remember the first job I was offered was to write a newsletter for a car club that was like a very large car club. And when I asked about, well, how much would I be paid, they quit talking to me for something that was going to be 40 hours a week work easy.
Yeah.
For what they wanted. And that, like, oh, well, it's for that. No, I need this. And there's got to be more to it than clips or, my time. If I'm volunteering, cool. That's fine, but the show should be free then.
Yeah, 100%. Kev, is there anything else you wanted to throw in on that?
No, I mean, you guys pretty much touched base on everything I bring up, and yeah, you guys hit it.
I just want to make sure you didn't miss a thing that you wanted to hit.
Awesome.
I mean, the other. Just want to make sure you're up for the next part. At this point, though, I mean, we can speculate all day long about how do we get here, but here's where we are. How do we get out of here? Where do we go next? Like, what's next? About some of these places, and I don't want to get on here and outright, point anyone out and say what they did is wrong, what they did, this one is that, or try to defend anyone or accuse anyone. I mean, I don't know. I'm a spectator in all of this. I'm not really a part of it as far as any of that goes. So, all I can say is I would read each accusation, and I think all of them should be taken very seriously, and they should all be looked into. But I think that's kind of where my stance ultimately pauses and says I don't have anything more to provide other than take them all seriously. But where do we go from here? There's definitely companies that are already closing up. It sounds like Bar Wrestling maybe no more. We had NWA lose their EVP, their co-president, David Lagana, is stepped down away from NWA. So they're pausing all their creative for right now. It's probably good for them anyways. I've not been a fan of what they've been doing, so. But time to reevaluate. Time to reevaluate altogether.
This is the wrong reason.
Silver Linings champ?
Oh, shit. Can you imagine, though, if Heyman got over there? He's not creative of Raw anymore. We could finally see Eli Drake and James Storm against the Rock and Roll Express in a mini golf tournament. Oh. You're welcome. You're welcome, world.
Pure magic.
Yeah, pure magic. That's what we've been dying for.
Rock and Roll Express might look better.
Yeah. So where do you think we go from here? What do you what are the next steps? How do we make this better? I've seen some people speculating, start putting in background checks, where I don't think a background check would have stopped necessarily almost any of these, because most people had a clean background. But like I said before, if you know a place doesn't have a background check, you may find a safe haven in there. I know there's a company local in town that had a guy with an ankle bracelet wrestling for months, and I kept kind of looking sideways and asking about it and was getting a whole lot of don't ask questions until his parole officer showed up one day and said, there's kids here, he's not allowed to be here.
Really?
Yeah. And then it was like, oh,
Shit.
yeah, he should go then. Like, but I was told, really don't ask. You know what I mean? And it's like, when you, it's one of those things where if they even had the threat of a test or the threat of a background check, they might think twice. And this is another thing too, where that guy was always nice to me. He was always cool with me. We trained together in some respects, where it's all like, I can't use that as a defense for somebody. Too many people are coming out and trying to say like, well, they were always nice to me. Well, of course.
Yep.
Everyone's nice to you if they don't want to take advantage of you. They're mean to the ones that take advantage of. That's the whole thing. So
Jimmy
I never tried to
Savile
defend
was
him or
an
anything.
amazing
but-
guy to everyone.
Yeah. Real quick before we get your answer on that, Clump, we got Gozer in the chat here, and if you're listening on podcast, if you check us out on twitch.tv/wrestling on the rocks, you can join the chat, be part of the show, and help derail. Let's see. Gozer says the pay your dues thing has okay, well, I'm gonna start that over. I'm gonna just do that over again. The pay your dues things happens both TTRPG and the video game
Tabletop
industry.
role-playing games.
Oh, tabletop role-playing games and video game industry, as well as many industries across the board, such as how Blizzard treats their employees. People want those jobs no matter how they are treated because most other developers won't look at them without the experience. So the thing too, man, I hate this employers-built economy we have in general. They employers should be courting employees. They should be saying, here's how we can make you happy, please come work for us. But that's not the case. Every employee has to walk into the employer's office and say, what's the absolute bare minimum I can degrade myself to do this, please, yes, please. You know what I mean? There's you can't even stand up for yourself in an interview. Real quick, Dork Chop also says any place where there is more talent than jobs available will be rife with these power trips and abuses because people can be replaced and usually for cheaper. That's just it. You have to develop a culture. Maybe that's just the whole thing. Maybe it's a culture shift. You have to develop a culture where loyalty matters.
Yeah.
Look at the Vince McMahon Undertaker relationship. In that Last Ride documentary, which Clump, before we went air, just so adamantly talked shit on and shit all over like it was diarrhea.
Because he didn't know anything.
Because he says, I couldn't get into it because fucking God. So it's like
I
episode
think he said he
2.
hates the Undertaker.
He said something about fuck the Undertaker. I could take him in a fight.
Yeah.
Like I heard him say something like that.
That old frail piece of shit. I heard it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll challenge his ass to a fight. I know I'll get my ass kicked. You know what'll happen? I'll be closer to him than you either of you fucks ever would have been.
Yeah. You know what? He'll give me a drink afterwards, assholes.
Yeah.
See this fucking bruise? Hall of Fame ring. Fuck you both.
Yeah. Yeah. And Clump's gonna be all like, how many hips can I knock out of him? You know what I mean? So he says in there, they ask Vince, they say, in a few words, can you express what Undertaker means to you and the WWE? He doesn't even say anything. He's just looking at them, and his eyes turn red, and they start welling, and he just does this motion, the hand across the throat, like, cut it, stop it. He's all like, no. And he just says no. He goes, you can't ask me that. He goes, we're not doing that question. And they aired that part because they're all like, he refuses to entertain the idea of expressing what The Undertaker means to him because the loyalty runs that deep. Ask him what Shane McMahon means. No, I'm just fucking. I'm just kidding.
He's a decent guy.
Yeah. You saw that thing where the John Cena birthday tweet versus the Shane McMahon
Yeah.
birthday tweet? Yeah. It's like- yeah. No, but seriously though, like we need to really build a culture where positive loyalty is reinforced, where your job's not always on the line, where it's not, well, fuck you, we'll get someone else. And I've heard that here. I've heard that here locally even. I was at a show where a couple of women talent didn't want to do a specific move in a match they were in. It was an intergender match. And they were nervous to do it because they were afraid of getting hurt because of a previous injury or something. And the mentality behind it became, oh, well, if you think you're too hurt to work, then I'll just go get you replaced. We'll get someone else in here. And I was like, no, I don't just want to do that one move. Because, well, that's the move we're doing in the thing. And if you can't do it, then we're just going to go ahead and get you replaced. And so they got the person to agree to doing the move. And you see those little things. And when you talk to I talked to both sides of it at different times just to kind of get my head around it. They both had very confident answers in why they would say it that way and how they were protecting everybody, right? No one thinks they're doing something wrong. So I think that you need to build a positive loyalty. You need to not say we're just going to replace you, because you need to not fear people into doing something they're uncomfortable with. That has to stop. That has to just go away. You have to hear that and pull the other person, right? If you overhear as a promoter someone says, well, if you're not getting that spot, then I'll find someone else to work with. You have to say, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yep.
You're not working with anyone tonight.
Call him out.
That's where you go. You're off the card now. I don't care if you're the main event. You're done. You come back next week with a different attitude, and we'll put you back on. You know what I mean? Like you have to cut it.
In a sense, like this is the role, or this should be the role in many places of what like the idea of like human resources is. Although it seems weird to say that, but like so much of what we're hearing, it's like internships. It's like we create this idea of, to do this, you need this structure. You need to put everything into it and hope. And no, what should happen is, if you want to work here and you're applying here, awesome. I'm excited for you, and I should try and grow you to make you better. I feel that where I'm at now, I love that.
Yeah.
But in many places, that's not the case.
I would
in a
say
private
anyone who's
job-
been a significant trainer in a company like the company you work for should definitely be a trainer for wrestling schools too. So I'm open. I'm open if you guys are looking.
Yeah. Cool. one of the things on the last jobs I had that, when we think about this kind of attitude, shit, it was like a job nobody wanted, and it was still that same like, well, we'll find someone else for it. And then when I left it to go work at where I work at now, the guy's proudly saying, yeah, the next person, we're not going to pay him near as much as you. And I'm just like, why the no?
Yeah, no, it's bullshit.
So
First
I
off,
told that
everyone
person-
should know what everyone's making. 100%. Everyone should know what everyone's making at every job that you're at. I don't care what company you work for. If they tell you that it's against policy and you can be fired for discussing your wages, it's because they're taking advantage of you specifically. You're the one they don't want to know.
That's the only difference in the military.
Yeah, those are open in city jobs. In city jobs, it's fucking publicly posted.
Yeah.
Let's see. So real quick to get into some of the chat here. I don't want to neglect my live chatters, my derailers, as I call them.
Since when have you called him that?
Just today. I started calling them that today.
I know.
Do you think
I know.
should we do that? Should we call our fans chasers? That,
Yeah, I can just see that.
a
I still
pickleback?
like
That's our
There's a
fans.
lot of negative context to that.
Yeah? Picklebacks?
I-
That's probably
I still like
towing a line, I
Rockaholics.
bet. Rockaholics, that's pretty good. We got to come up with something to make a shirt
But
for
let's be
them.
honest, we
Let's
don't
see.
have fans.
You don't really, but it's all right. Well, I mean, we got drinking buddies. That's all you need.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean, you got a couple of drinking buddies. You're in a good spot. Go and pick up your drinking buddy shirt over at Wrestling on the Rocks, ProWrestling.com.
I think Rockaholics just won.
500 for Rockaholics. Yeah. Well, if you got the points, you got the points, man. Let's see. But let's see what's going on in the chat here. Let's see. Yeah, they're talking about The Last Ride. I think it's much watch for any fan. Gozer says, it's been a long time since I've really watched wrestling. Not having cable doesn't help. Dorkchop then says, 90% of what I watch on the network is their documentary stuff. To be honest, I think I'm more interested in the wrestling business than actual wrestling sometimes. And Blue Boyd says, yeah, the app is free now. And I wanted to stop there for just a second. The WWE Network app is free now and does have a ton of content on it. The only thing you're not getting if you get the free thing, and they don't require a credit card for you even to get it, so it's not one of those like, so we can bill you later things. You just get it. You have all of their original content. You just don't really have the pay-per-views right now. I think tier structure is probably going to come into place and change that up a little bit, but as of right now, it literally costs you nothing to get the network, download it, watch The Last Ride, and just cry like a baby. So have a drink. Let's see. I think last time I watched wrestling continuously was in the early 2000s. Gozer says, damn right. Wage openness for everyone. And they like Rockaholics for 500 points. Little crystals, purple crystals,
Sweet.
couple of bits. I don't know how bits work, but we're doing it. We're
Thank
doing it with the
you,
bits.
Gozer.
Let's
Cheers,
see.
Gozer.
Yeah, cheers, Gozer. Kevlar, do you have any ideas of where you go from here? How do you weed this stuff out? I mean, it seems to me to be a much larger issue and probably not something as simple as we're going to sort out because it's probably not exclusive to the wrestling business.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I could kind of understand background checks in a sense, but like you said, ask another promoter how this guy performed. How was he backstage, and how easy is that to, cover up? If he's
No, they used to send each other to each other. Back in the territory
What's
days,
that?
they would send them. Like, that was the thing. You used to send them to other territories. In the territory days, it was, hey, I've been working the Texas loop, as they call it, or whatever. And then, be like, oh, we're starting to see ticket sales drop just a little bit. Let's send you out, bring in somebody fresh, and we'll just keep the cycle going. And that's how dudes like... That's why Andre was never...
Andre.
Yeah, Andre was Andre because he went everywhere. And everyone was that way. Everyone who was a top draw anywhere was sent somewhere else to draw over there while they brought in someone else. And they would do the injury angles, all that stuff to keep the audience happy and fresh and to keep the work pool solid. You know what I mean? That's how you knew everyone. And I bet you those dudes didn't feel like, well, if you don't do it, someone else will. I bet you Junkyard Dog never thought that. If it's not me, it's gonna be someone else. You know what I mean? But that's the environment we've done now. We just need to do better. We need to be better. We need to speak up when we see something, and not be afraid of. Here's the bottom line. Why are you afraid of making almost no money from this company when you can make almost no money from a different company? They're defending people for nothing, man. This isn't like Stone Cold's doing... I don't want to besmirch the name of Stone Cold, even in an example, because that's just not the case. But this isn't like, hey, this top guy over here is bringing me in to do a thing and making me do this to do it with him. I'm going to lose millions of dollars if I don't do this. This is a fucking... literally called bar wrestling because it's in bars because they pay you $20 to go. Oh, shit, I'm not going to make $20 tonight? And I don't got to grab some random dude's dick? I guess I'll make $20 somewhere else. Fuck that. Speak up, man. Maybe that's simplifying.
No, I think it's fair. I think, we've created, or we've allowed a culture to be created. And I hate using the word allowed because, I don't think a lot of people had the idea of choice, but that can be destroyed too. And a new culture can be created. It just takes people watching. It takes people saying, like, you know what, fuck this, stop that. You're not doing this. It takes people asking questions. It takes things like, you know what, that's a cool thing and it gets a laugh, but I'm not doing it with you. It takes, no, you're not going to do this. It takes people saying that, and it takes people asking questions. It takes people, if you're in a room with 20 other people and you see two people having an exchange where one person's trying to take advantage of the other, I hate to say this, but shame is a great tool, and it's something that we don't utilize. I don't care if you're new, say something, and I'm sure in a lot of experiences you'll get other people saying, yeah, that's fucked up, because a lot of people, I truly believe people are overall good. I think people, though, worry about the idea of the group mentality against them. Be that person who says something, and you'll probably have a lot of other people with you. Or at least you'll create it. And if you get kicked out of a promotion, if you get told, hey, you're not going to perform anymore, you shouldn't be doing it there. Go do it somewhere else.
Yeah, be somewhere else.
But you can maybe spread the word and say, yeah, I was working there, this happened, I can't do it, And hopefully that causes change. We need to be able to be open to create change.
Do you think maybe, like, agents, like how actors and athletes have agents, that the agent can, weed out the bad?
I mean, there used to be stuff like that. There used to actually be managers and agents and stuff. Or what was that one dude did all the contract work for all the wrestlers? I don't know. But there used to be a mediary there to prevent people taking advantage of both sides. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you could definitely create a structure. I mean, like, maybe being more formal, and this is a business. If you're not doing this, if you're doing this as a nonprofit, it needs to have control. If you're doing this as a business, then you need to have somebody who controls relations of employees that is not a talent, that's hired separate or is elected by talent, and that sounds, does that make sense? Like,
Like a players union kind of
yeah,
thing.
absolutely. Like, have somebody who operates with the, if it's hired, it has to go through it, or it has to go through the team, or the idea of like an employee-owned company. We all have a say in this,
Hmm.
you know, or have it be something separate, someone who is brought in from another place, or if you get to that point where you're considered for this role, you hire from another promotion, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the complacency has to stop because it happened because we were complicit in it, not necessarily. You don't have to say you agree with it to condone it. You can definitely look the other way to condone it, and either way, it's just being complicit in the behavior, and that just needs to flat out stop. And I
Yeah.
think that they need to bring back real wrestling schools with real people who've done it before.
Mhm.
Let's see, a couple other things. There's some chat going on in here. Let's see, Fabtina. If people knew about the victims in the moment, I think there would have been supporters potentially. Gozer says, we have created a society where the new and average worker fears losing a job, not just from the job, but from the people around you. Society says, if you aren't working and doing everything you need to keep the job, then you must be lazy.
I agree with that.
Yeah, lazy at best. There's a lot of worse things that people will say.
We've destroyed the protections for the worker and the individual that somebody loses a job. If somebody says, I want to try something different, that's a very difficult thing to do now. And
Yeah.
that ability to be free in choice has been tied like any protection that allows somebody to do that has been so inextricably tied to the idea of them sucking on a system. No. At best, if somebody's doing that, they're not living a great life. If somebody wants to abuse that system, it's not like they're doing fantastic. They're not living on a high horse. They're in a pretty shit state.
What about the other side of it? What if you're using that system and that time to skate by? Because, like you said, you're not living the high life. You're not buying a yacht, but maybe you're getting by month to month, and you don't need to worry about rent because it's coming in off that system. Maybe you're learning a new trade. Maybe you're investing in
fine.
yourself. Maybe you're betting on yourself or something. I'm going to do this thing. It's going to take 4 months. I'm gonna go onto the system and get that back, and I'm gonna bet on myself that I can get through the other side with a better skill and a better ability to feed my family, I suppose.
I agree with that absolutely. I think that's what we assume that a lot of people. You said something worse. It's like that they're never going to do it. They're going to be on it for 30 years. My thought is, if somebody's on it for whatever and they don't care, it's not like they're doing better than you. But most people, the majority of people who would take advantage of that would take advantage of it in the sense of doing better for themselves. They would take it
Yeah.
as an ability to get a degree, to get experience, to explore something. Shit, I'd
Dude.
love to learn metal fabrication. I've always wanted to work with metal. That'd be an amazing thing, to have that there to help me out and become something better. Absolutely.
Yeah, when I
But
thought I was about
instead,
to get laid off during all this, I was actually kind of excited because I saw how many months I could get by, and I was like, "Oh, I can finish some schooling that I wanted to do. I can get a couple certifications." And I also thought I'm gonna have a load of time to focus on this show. I was like, I could really get this thing sorted out, and really invest my time in it, and maybe make something of it. That was my first thought. Was, oh, that would actually work out great. I can invest time in me. And it just didn't happen, and it's like, all right, well, I still have my job, and everything's still going the same way it was, and it's not as exciting as investing in yourself. So I definitely understand someone who gets fed up, walks away, and says, you know what, I'm going to use this to propel myself in some way.
yeah, this is a fun wrestling show.
This is why we drink. This is why every week we drink more and more.
I have a problem with
I was gonna
sparkling
say-
water.
I did listen to, so Jericho had a week of refs, and so he had Aubrey Edwards and Mike Chioda on there. Anybody who is interested in reffing, I suggest definitely listening to Mike Chioda. Anybody who wants to see the entire other side of how you can get away with it, you could also listen to the Aubrey one if you wanted. You know what's funny? Their stories were so dramatically different. And Mike Chioda talked about who was training him and how he got trained. And he talked about paying his dues by picking up people at the airport, being part of the ring crew. And he talked about all these things he had to do, working merch tables for years before he could ref on TV and reffing dark matches and stuff like that. He talked about all that stuff. And he talked about how he's 31 years in as a ref, 35 years in the business. And he talked about how he felt like he had more to give. And he goes, at one point, I'd like to teach. Just from that perspective alone, Aubrey Edwards started reffing when she was like 3 years ago. Literally 3 years ago. She goes, I went to a proper ref school. And then she said it was by a dude in Seattle who taught himself how to ref by watching WWE clips. And he just does what that is. And he taught me how to do that. And I was all like, oh. Then she talked about how she would never make it, or she didn't think that WWE was a good fit for her because they don't have their personalities and they're not saying their names on TV all the time. And she wants to be a personality and a character and wants to get her thing out. Where Chioda was also saying the best referees in the business are the ones you don't even know are there till the 3 count. You know, like the ones who don't pull away. And she's like, well, how do I not have a highlight? And then she says, so 2 years in, she gets on TV. And then she says that she opened up a school so she can teach people how to ref because she wants to give back, because she wants it to be easier for the next person. Easier. You know how she got into reffing to begin with? That proper ref school she went to asked her to come in because they did their own promotion and needed a ref, and they thought she would be cool to have on because she used to be a dancer. So they asked her to do it, trained her for a couple weeks, and then, not even a couple weeks, it sounded like, and then put her in there immediately. And then she got on TV 2 years later. And she wants it to be easier for the next person. What's easier than to be asked to do this and given a fucking TV job immediately? What struggle was it you're trying to make them avoid? So yeah, real fucking no.
I'm almost like, I want to believe that nobody would say something that fucking shitty in an interview. I'm like, nah, but now I'm gonna listen tonight and probably like message you and be like, this motherfucker.
It's crazy, dude. I mean, and she sounds like a cool. You know what? What's the weird part about that interview? All the most fascinating and interesting stuff about her has nothing to do with the ref stuff. It's the stuff she did before she was a ref. And you're like, oh, that's when your life was interesting. Then you were handed this fucking dream job.
Yeah.
And you don't want it to be so hard on the next person to be handed it too.
Like, to me, I agree with that, like what Mike Chioda said. And you know what? You kind of still spot them. They're there. A ref's job is to direct the orchestra that is in front of them. You know? A ref's job has an important role. To get your own shit in, goddamn, then be a talent.
Yeah.
You know?
You can definitely... You definitely get to know they're good refs by the consistency of it. Was it Jimmy Corderas even went on Twitter after the thing because he saw a quote that she said about how she didn't have a personality and she wasn't a character and wanted to do that stuff, right? And then he said, well, go be a talent. And other people were like, well, other refs got to do that, like Charles Robinson when he was Little Nate, or even Jimmy Corderas when he was a scab in the one storyline. Or Mike Chioda had a storyline about something, the Earl Hebner storyline with the 2 refs. And they're missing the point that they could think of 5 stories that involved a ref. And the reason it made it a standout was because of the consistency of the ref before and after. Mm-hmm. It never really wavered from that referee being consistent. That was their personality. Here's a consistent official that is going to do something that's unusual because now they're going to have a spotlight for a second. And that's going to be part of the story, that it's unusual. Not that you know this character so well, that it's a dynamic story that's been going on for years. That's the worst thing you can have.
It upsets me that they have that person in AEW along with 2 refs I really do like a lot. I listened to
You know who she didn't bring up? Earl fucking Hebner. And he's no longer the senior ref there anymore, dude.
Who is?
The name she said I did not even recognize. It's one of the other. I would have lost my shit if it was Knox, that piece of shit. He's the worst fucking ref.
Whoa!
He's an awful fucking ref, dude! He's not a piece of shit. He's a good person, I'm sure. He's not a piece of shit, I apologize. But he's an awful fucking ref.
His interview on Kind of Fun, like it's a wrestling podcast I listen to, where he talked about reffing and his idea and what he does in it, I liked it. It made sense to me, and I could see it. And I think
Does it have to do with just
Yeah.
sleeping in the corner and letting them do whatever they want and not knowing the rules to begin with?
no, it's about like you have to work in back, you have to run a match, you have to keep time. Like he went into talking about All In, like in All In, the last match that they had, because the match with Rey Mysterio and Pentagon, or the with Rey Mysterio and Pentagon, went so fucking long. He's like, okay, we have to really cut this down and stuff, and we had to do this, or it was the match prior to that because that was the last match, and he's like talking about how he worked with talent in advance to do that, and he did talk about sometimes like the way I style this, I want to make sure they can do their stuff, and we talk about it in advance. So yeah, but it made sense to me. He's like, he was talking about like it's there to keep everyone good and make time, and I think he even said if I'm jumping into the match, then I'm not doing my job. But I liked it. I thought it made sense. It wasn't a bunch of getting shit in. Okay.
If I enforce a rule, then I fucked up. If I even know the rules, I'm already a step behind. I'm there to tell them what they tell me in my ear to tell them to stop and go
why do I
home.
say
That's what
all
I'm
that
here
shit? I
for,
just get
and I
shit
run
like
around
this.
in the corner. You know what's funny? She said some similar stuff. So the interview was with Jericho, and he was even talking about like how good she did in this one particular match where she completely neglected the rules altogether, and her response was like, I mean, they didn't even say it that way. They're like, oh yeah, because there was no count out. She's like, oh, you guys were on the outside for like 5 minutes. And he's like, yeah, and you guys didn't count us out, and it was great and whatnot. And she goes, well, it's a championship match. People really want to count out. I mean, come on. It's wrestling. Like, the rules are a thing. And you're just like, fuck you, dude. You work within the rules, and that makes the story. That's the story.
That's
Do
AEW.
you really want rules here? I mean, come on. Be honest. Fuck. Yes, I do want rules. Jericho even brought up a good point where one of his friends said, I don't care what the rules are as long as they are rules and I know them. Yes!
Yeah.
I've been saying that forever. Change your fucking rules so you have less.
Well, like
Video games all have rules.
Video games has fucking rules, man.
even Minecraft, which is like
Yes.
the definition of not rules. No, like
Even dragons have rules. Game of Thrones has rules. Every universe has
not a great
boundaries.
example last season.
There's rules. Oh, they got real AEW in that last season? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
They got real
the
fucking
last,
AEW.
The last season was like all that shit gone. No,
They got real elite on the end there.
I think that statement upsets me because yeah, no, like when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, and it would have been really cool to work around that parameter. Or if you really want 5 minutes without a ref doing shit, fuck up the ref. Do a
Yeah.
ref ball.
Yeah, knock it out.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm cool with that. That's the classic thing. But no,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I like Rick Knox's interview, and I've never really had a problem with him. But then I also like the indie shit you hate. So maybe
Yeah, no,
my
that's fine.
perspective is different. Yeah, but like
No.
I got it. He wasn't going in and getting himself talking about getting over. He was talking about like you work with talent to get it done, and like you talk it out in advance. Yeah, I get that. But like this interview, I'm gonna listen to and be like, man, fuck this person. You
Yeah,
Aubrey.
maybe.
Turd.
Kevlar, did you watch AEW this week?
I did.
That's fucking
Thank God.
crazy.
I
What
whole
was I was
thing.
gonna... The whole
only
thing.
fell asleep twice.
I was gonna do... Before we get in AEW, because I definitely want to know what Kevlar thinks of AEW, as far as news goes outside of that, there was those which I think people should listen to. Also check out Refereeing 101 by Jimmy Corderas. You can find it on Fight TV and his book, The 3 Count. So, the other thing is The Last Ride. I wanted to bring that up because it's a 5-part series, and spoiler alert, you guys don't get to watch it and find out because you guys are dicks and didn't watch it up front. The reason we have everything out here today, Undertaker, is in the very last episode, he said he's happy to walk away and never wrestle again, and he said never say never, and he goes, honestly, it's like in case of emergency break, if Vince called me and said he was really in a fucking pinch, I'd probably go. And he's like, but I'm happy to never do it again. I'm ready to be done. I'm going to walk away the way that I want it to be. And then they played Troubadour by George Strait, and I couldn't fucking keep it together.
It's a good song.
It's fucking, dude, such a good song. I was a young troubadour. And I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone. Oh, so fucking good. Came
The most
in 23.
That's the most Mark Calloway fucking thing. Like,
Which also brings up, they have a Mark Calloway t-shirt on WWE Shop. It says Mark Calloway and it has his face. It's crazy. He's wearing a beanie.
oh. By the way, I ordered a bunch of shit for WrestleMania, like on WrestleMania. Still hasn't even shipped.
You might want to call them. Because a lot of that shit's sold out since then.
God damn it.
That's funny.
With all
It's
that
with
in
all the
mind...
Rumble stuff from last year.
Yeah, it's from that Rumble stuff and that fire. That was such... I was like most proud of that GIF, I think, of any GIF I've sent. When, was it Kevlar texted me after Royal Rumble, and he's like, none of it showed up on the shop. He goes, every time they do a big event, a bunch of that stuff shows up on the shop afterwards as like a sale. He goes, none of it. He goes, what the fuck did they do with those thousands of wrestling t-shirts? And I found a GIF of Randy Orton right outside his sister Abigail's house when he set it on fire, just going like this with the big fire in front of him. I was like crying, laughing when I was looking at it, and then he responds with like, "It seems that way, at least." I just imagined a shitload of Rumble stuff. Just let's see. If that's the case, if Undertaker is truly done, are you happy with the Boneyard match being his last match?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well, we
he were to
said
come back, What's up?
I was gonna say we said it after Mania that if this was gonna be his last match, we were happy with it.
Yeah, and we both. I think we all said that we thought there's a very good chance it would be his last match.
Yeah.
If he were to come back for one more match, who do you think it should be?
Bray Wyatt.
Right?
I don't know, somebody in Saudi Arabia.
Someone in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
like a wrestler or just a person?
No, in Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
Oh,
The next crown jewel.
I think if I were to do it, I would do the Bray Wyatt story because I think there's enough there, especially because the Bray Wyatt didn't get the win at Mania, and that really offset his character the way that it was. To me, that would be the dream. There was Sam Roberts has a really good podcast, and he put together his top 10 of who he thought could have great final matches with Undertaker if he came back for one more. And I disagreed with most of them. I think there was 2 or 3 I thought would be good. Because he also mentioned Baron Corbin, which I thought could be good because there would be a lot of gas on that for Corbin. And then Seth Rollins he mentioned, which I don't know storyline-wise why I would give a shit, but just the match itself I think I would be excited about. The only other one that comes up at all... What's up?
I was gonna say storyline might be kind of cool since he's the Monday Night Messiah and you could get rid of the dead man, like the evil.
Yeah, like cleaning up shop kind of a deal.
See that? Yeah.
But I think that the only other one that I would say would be that I think could be okay, but I think would be the Sting. If you actually did Undertaker Sting in a cinematic way, but I don't. It'd have to be very cinematic, and it'd have to be like, hey, this is our dream match, and almost just like it'd almost have to be a movie teaser of what could have been. You know what I mean? Because if they were in their prime, but I think I wouldn't complain, but I don't think that's the one I want. I would want Bray. Dork Chop says Aleister Black for me, just because it would be fun. I want to say Aleister Black was also on Sam's list. I just don't know that I need it from Aleister, but I mean, it could be good. And then obviously you can always do the AJ one more time. Would be fine, I think.
Yeah, I don't even mind a Finn, like the Demon.
Oh, Fiend would be good. Fiend would be really good.
I think it worked out perfectly because, and it might be the unfortunate, like, plus of the situation in general, like that we've had where we've had wrestling in this way. I don't know if it could have been as good of an end as it was if we didn't have, this weird, place of wrestling in empty arenas.
Yeah.
I don't think you could do this type of match and it have that type of impact in a WrestleMania where you also have 60 to 100,000 people there because they're gonna not give a shit. And why would you not utilize that crowd? You know? I think it wouldn't work. And I think it'd get shit on. I think if you did that, you would have, a lot of these, people who are big wrestling writers who cover everything would go off on, well, it could have been in the ring and this and that. It was such a weird segment. I think in a time of weirdness, this was perfect, and I think it's the best end.
What if they
That's just
did
my
it?
view.
What if they did a cinematic? Like, what if they did a Firefly Funhouse, but it was a network exclusive? You know what I mean? You can
I
even make that
think-
the kickoff show. I would hate to do it for a kickoff show for like a Mania, but maybe you do. Maybe Mania, the first hour before the thing, you get a Firefly Funhouse. But I mean, how do you fucking follow that? So I don't know. Maybe you put that as its own special. Put a special together. It's the Firefly Funhouse network exclusive.
Like Fighter Fest.
I think that's a
Just one
great.
random day.
I mean, I think you could do that, but I feel like you might also run into a lot of, I think you'd upset those wrestling fans who, would want to watch it there, because I think there's a fair
It's free. The
amount of
network's
wrestling-
free.
Yeah, no, I get you, but I think a fair amount of wrestling fans see something on the network as not special.
Well, that's
you'll
up to
have the
them.
people
That's
like-
their fuck up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it'd be bad, but I think you'd get this feedback. You'd get this back to culture. Well, it wasn't in the ring. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. I think
Yeah.
it was a great end, and I think it was perfect for me. It was perfect. If it came back, and they were saying, they built it up right, because you also have to have a good build to it. I'd be okay with Bray versus Undertaker.
I would at a Firefly Funhouse. And Dorkchop agrees with me, so fuck you, Clump. He says,
We'll see.
"You.
Go ahead.
Why did you send me the same tweet you sent me? Oh wait, this got to be a different one. It was just hadn't loaded. Sorry. So standalone Taker Funhouse, he said would be legendary. To be honest, so I think that makes me right because Dorkchop agrees, and Clump has got to stop disagreeing with me. It's making him look foolish. This just in. When did this get posted?
Let me see.
I think I saw the gun earlier, so probably not just this just in.
This was. Oh wow. No, this is not just in. This was like a day ago.
So you heard it here
First.
first.
24 hours later.
You heard it here. Well, because this just breaking. I mean, it was from yesterday, but the show's today. What are you gonna do? Sarah Rowe. A lot has changed in my life recently, and I have stepped away from wrestling for the foreseeable future. Wrestling is all I've known since I was 17, so it's time to I let myself focus on other things and explored other parts of myself. My Instagram is going to be different, but I promise it will always reflect me. So if you want to take this crazy ride, then buckle up because things have been moving faster than I can keep up. My efforts have been on the Wild and Free TV, which is a new YouTube show they have. And that's the best way to keep up. We're releasing some awesome content, and I don't say this enough, but I appreciate you guys and hope to see you down the line. And it's a cow, a chicken, and rock and roll fingers. So she's stepping away from wrestling.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I'm kind of bummed by that, to be honest. Just
Yeah,
because I thought
same.
she was just really getting into
Just started.
a really cool spot. I thought she was really getting to learn herself there, but at the same time, I guess now's the time to step away. Like, what are you stepping away from? I don't know. Maybe I'm being a dick.
And that, no, I think that's fair. It's kind of fucked up, but like, I could see that. Like, you worked in this, and this is not gonna attack like shit on WWE here, but like, you worked on this, you were released. There's not much else there. Yeah, go
step
at it.
away.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say,
Focus
Kevin?
on you. I was gonna just say the same exact thing that you said earlier about, if you're, gonna lose your job, you're like, okay, I can focus on me, the show, this and that. She's
Yeah.
doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, she's living my dream. God damn it!
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, twice she's done it now. So before we move on, if that's it, if that's the last ride, if that's the last we see of Undertaker, then we got to give him proper cheers.
Mhm.
A little Jack.
Oh, hold on.
What do you got? An IPA? Oh, a little wine. We got a lot going on here.
Got
Not what I
Cabo.
thought. Cheers to the Undertaker. Thank you, Taker. I mean, his career speaks for itself. Every fuck up was never as big as every success with him. And I honestly think a lot of people talk about their Mount Rushmore, and I've said it before, I don't include him on my Mount Rushmore because I don't think it's fair. Because I think that it's so obvious that obviously he's one of the greatest to ever do this. It's not fair to take up one of the spots for a conversation of who could be the best, like to go back and forth. If you put Undertaker in that conversation, there's no more conversation. You just go, well yeah, obviously, but let's talk about, can we talk about number 2? So to me, Mount Rushmore is always 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's never going to be number 1. I just don't know that there's ever been a character as impactful, as meaningful, as important as The Undertaker has been.
Yeah. I
Cheers.
would hate the term Mount Rushmore. Cheers.
You hate the term Mount Rushmore? You know it's a real
Yeah, I
place,
hate-
right?
Yeah, it's not fake.
Is it? I'm not saying it is. But I'm saying I hate the term Mount Rushmore because they're always like, oh, who will be on your Mount Rushmore? And like you said, you're putting 4 up there. You're not putting 1 up there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, you're
Yeah.
not picking. You're picking your top 4
Also,
Not
when was
your-
Mount
your-
Rushmore
one
constructed?
day.
1900s.
70 something.
70
Those are
something.
both different answers.
I mean, 1970s. It took 14 years to make from 1927 to 1941.
No, that was close.
So that means they started it in 1927. How many presidents did they have by then, even? You know what I mean? Like, is this really a top 4 presidents of all time? Is that really
There's
the
still more
conversation?
room on the mountain.
There's tons of room on that mountain, for one. For
Just
2,
line them all up.
is that what they did to say, oh, we're going to put the 4 best presidents of all time up there?
It's weird, yeah.
All right, well, this has gone... I was...
Yeah, those
All right,
are
forget it.
fun.
Forget it. I'm just saying I don't think they put them up there because they're the best of all time. I think there was a different reason behind it, but fuck me, dude. Fucking forget it.
They were supposed weren't they supposed to be the most influential presidents up until that time?
I don't know. I asked 6 minutes ago when you didn't have shit to say.
Okay, well,
I'm
Gozer
looking
says
it up,
history
okay.
lesson 2. Oh, you're asking Jeeves. Thank Christ Jeeves has something to say about this. What do you
Okay,
got, Clump?
According to the artist, the reason that he chose Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln was because those presidents, in his eyes, represented preserving the role of the republic and expanding its territory. So it was based on their expansion, which, yeah, the idea of the expansion, it's
The guys who
story
bought the
of people-
most land? That's the deal?
Yeah, that's kind of
Who
fucked up
bought
when
the
you
most
think about
land?
it. Yeah,
Fuck.
it's a controversial space for the tribes that
Yeah.
that land like what historically has belonged to. Yeah, it's kinda
Yeah,
fucked
I read
up.
about that before too. It's like a really bad, you really took someone's mecca and fucking blew your face into
Yeah.
it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Big
all in
careful
honor of
person.
taking their land to begin with. We took it, we can do what we want with it. It's like, fuck. All right. Well, so maybe we should retire
was
the
fun.
Mount Rushmore.
yep.
Maybe you really should stop saying Mount Rushmore.
Alright.
It's hard to argue at this point.
what's a really not shitty I mean, also all 4 of them.
Aw,
I'm gonna let the all take over. What was the all?
Yeah, everyone's hearing you. What are you talking about?
nuh-uh, my mic's not on.
Everyone heard it.
We heard all.
yeah.
Everyone heard it. So, I don't know,
Everyone
producer, get on in on it.
Alright.
Okay. Sean Mooney, Primetime with Sean Mooney, had tweeted, "It's been an incredibly 3 years here on his podcast. Tomorrow, with a heavy heart, he's going to say goodbye as we bring our final episode. Thank you to everyone who's listened and supported Primetime over the past 3 years. So I posted a little GIF of a cheers. And I said hashtag Thank you Mooney, and he liked it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mooney's a friend of the show.
Yeah.
As you see, he did a commercial for us on our front page, and in the trailer, he put us over. So Mooney, friend of the show, retiring his podcast. I've only got one regret on that. I swear, I could have pushed it. But I didn't. I could have pushed it. So he had a thing where if you were on the top tier and you were on the top tier for 6 months, that you would be a guest on his show and he would interview you. And I said, okay, fuck it, I'm doing it. Then all of a sudden he dissolves his Patreon. He goes, hey, if there's any perks that nobody got that you feel like you should have gotten, hit us up and we'll see what we can do. And I went back and did the math. He dissolved it on the 6th month. And I was like, this would have been the month I would have got it. I think I could have pushed it. I think I could have been a guest on the show in his last run. But I didn't do it. Maybe I should have done it because I could have pushed us over. Either way, Mooney's a great dude, great interview, great podcast. Now that he's gone, I'll put him over all the time. You should definitely listen to us first and foremost. His podcast. Yeah, he didn't die. Right? No, he's still good. So,
Yeah.
no, he's
Cheers
healthy.
to Mooney.
Cheers
Did he
to
do
Mooney.
Anything else that we know?
Fucking everyone's leaving, dude. This whole podcast is like cheers to the gone. God, so Taker's gone, Logan's
Gone,
gone,
but
now
not
Mooney's
forgotten.
gone. All gone but not forgotten. All still alive. Cheers to Mooney. It'll always be prime time in our hearts. All right. Anybody else leaving?
I got to take the Browns to the championship game.
What?
I got to take the Browns to the playoffs. I mean, I'll make it to the bowl, so I'm going to stay to the playoffs.
Oh my God.
I got to giggle out of Kevlar. Yeah.
Let's get into wrestling.
So let's get into AE Dub. How quick can you be? How quick can you be? Because I'll get Kevlar's whole
I'm good.
take
I
on.
just wanted to.
Oh my God.
I thought of that joke on the way in. I was like, I want to make a poop myself.
You just
joke.
wrote that joke, you piece of shit.
I have it written down in front of me.
All right,
He
so
wrote it on the way out.
we've taken more time than I anticipated talking about all this. So we're gonna make a little bit of a flashback, as it were. We're gonna talk a little bit about tops and bottoms, as it were, but not exactly. Kevlar, it's first time you watched AEW in a long time. What do you think about where it's come?
A quarterly report for AEW.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same. I don't feel like I've missed a lot. Like, the storylines, are kind of there, but there's nothing that really drew me in. I was like, oh, I have to watch this next one.
Yeah.
The refs still suck. That's terrible. What was it, the super bad guys or whatever?
Which ones?
Or super bad squad.
Is
The
there really
Jimmy
a name?
Havoc.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the super bad squad.
Yeah.
So-
Well, they're breaking up.
Yeah. So Jimmy Havoc walks out. The ref pulls a wrench out of his, or pliers out of his pocket.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you can't have this? And then later in the match, you see the pliers sitting, underneath their turnbuckle.
Yeah. Like he's just allowed to have it. It goes here.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm taking this. I'm confiscating it. And I'm going to put it right there.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't have them, but here you go.
Yeah.
What do you think about the? Keep going.
No, go ahead.
What do you think about the Orange Cassidy stuff with Jericho?
It was okay. I mean, Cassidy was the cameraman, and it was just weird. When he was trying to attack him at the end, he was hitting him a bunch, and then Jericho just kind of kept pushing him off like a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to play with you. I don't want to play. Get off me.
Yeah.
And AEW just has a bad time selling moves. I noticed.
Yeah. Nothing sits.
Yeah,
It's always on to the next.
There's a couple times where it was a tag match. I think it was with the Best Friends, and it wasn't the Best Friends. It was Jericho and Sammy Guevara. No, that was the same one. Sorry, it was the tag team before that, and they did a power bomb, and the dude literally just stands up and then just walks to his next spot.
Yeah. Just
I
walked
forgot which
over.
match it was. I thought we were gonna go over it.
Yeah.
I just had it written down. The spot was bad. I just forgot who did it.
What'd you think about Tony Hawk and? Wait, was that the week before Tony Hawk and? Yeah, that was the week before.
I
I
haven't seen
apologize.
any Hawk.
So you're talking about the Hangman Page and Kenny versus Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall.
I thought it was nice that we didn't have Cody on commentary just shitting on QT Marshall.
That was a fucking relief, man.
It was weird as hell. I was like, he's getting a hair transplant. I was like, that's fucked, dude.
Yeah.
But-
Oh, his hair transplants are looking pretty good. And then they had the image show up and goes, oh, that image is really generous on the hair for QT. I was like, what?
Fuck you.
We'll see, and that was another part
That's
that.
all grass is.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
No, that was another part that I didn't like, is that they kept saying that there was co-main events, and they were both tag matches. But
Yeah.
the tag team titles match was the kickoff match.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Like
I mean,
17 tag matches in this Dynamite.
They've done a really incredible way of trying to solidify tag team wrestling as their milieu,
Niche.
as it were, and at the same time shitting on the tag team division, tag teams that have been around a long time, and the tag team titles. It's this weird back and forth where they're like, we're the greatest tag team wrestling in all of wrestling, but our tag team titles mean shit, and all of the tag teams who have solidified themselves as tag teams, they don't really do well here. We mostly just put people together we think are already stars and let them go. And you're all like, no! Like, how did you mess up the one thing that was easy for you? You had a ton of tag teams ready to go.
Yeah.
That was how I feel.
And I
What
mean,
would you do?
I was going to say, I did think Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, they did pretty good.
They worked
in
well
that
together,
match.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who Marshall is, so he just
He's
seemed
the guy who's evidently going bald.
yeah.
He's a guy who's
just
got
seemed
hair
like
plugs.
real
He's like Cody's. He's one of Cody's best friends, and he's actually the trainer for their training camp.
Okay.
And he's got male pattern baldness.
Well,
That's
he's got
really
plugs
all
now.
we've been given. Yeah, that's really all we've been given. Which is fucked up because it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad match. Everyone in it did a decent job. I liked it. You know, I'm glad Kevin watched because I had trouble watching it because I watched a bit of it and then I stopped because of the amount of people on this show that will not be on AEW for a significant amount of time because of them being shitheads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dorchop says, love Hangman and Kenny, but I'm ready for the belts to be off of them. Didn't think
Yeah.
they would have them this long if they were still crowds, though. I also think this. You keep going around saying your number one tag team in all of AEW is the Young Bucks, and they lost against them.
Yep.
You just said that the best team you guys have can't win against them. How was anyone supposed to take those titles if they're worse than the best? If they're worse than every team, you know what I mean?
And if what you're doing there, and I feel like the argument that'll be made is that they're really great single star stuff, like cool. Then what you're saying is that a tag team really is just two really people together that make a decent wrestler, but two fantastic single stars, fuck everyone, you know?
Oh yeah, everyone fuck off.
Cena has, if you have Cena and Edge together, they'll clearly be the tag team champions. They're the best ever. But fuck this group that does this.
Yeah.
And
What did you think of that weird demon character?
I liked Abaddon. I thought Abaddon was awesome. I thought like the makeup looked good. I thought the work looked okay. I thought the other person working with him, like the match, kind of looked sloppy as them together. I thought that they portrayed their gimmick well for the first time, and for what it is, I liked it. They put a lot into making them look scary as shit, and I was like, I like it. I like scary wrestlers.
What I thought was weird about it is they've been trying to build Anna Jay week by week and having her in the audience and having her come out. And then you had this weird ring character come out and just crush her in a sloppy, quick match. And you're like, well, you kind of undid all that shit.
And they had her promo
Yeah, that's exactly
right
what I
before.
took from it.
Oh, they had that. Yeah, they had a whole fucking video leading into it.
I was actually very interested in it. I was like, okay, there's a little backstory, I guess. Like, let's see what you got. And then she just got like squashed.
She's murdered.
And I was so confused. I was like, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Whatever I thought I was gonna see.
Yeah, they showed
They
this whole
could've used
video and you're like,
somebody
this
else,
is
yeah.
interesting. I'm really into this. And she gets murdered. You're like, well, fuck me, right? I shouldn't like anyone.
Yeah, they could have had her like crush someone else, or the other thing too is have both of these people in matches where they have decent workers with them. Like, you know, Anna Jay could have been in a match where she could have lost to like Big Swole, but it
Yeah.
looked good. Or
Yeah.
and then have like Abaddon like decimate somebody who's really like, okay, this person's
Like
got like
Riho.
a name. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm 100%
I mean, that would have been
cool with
sick.
that.
I mean, think about it. It would have been like because that actually worked. Because it would have been believable that she could just destroy Riho. It would have been the return of Riho, and it would have been like, holy shit, that's a former champion. And now you put this person immediately into the discussion, where all you've done now is said we've really like to build up this talent who hasn't proven themselves, and then get decimated out of there. And like, okay, well, no one wins here. You know
It's
what I mean?
funny.
Yeah.
One of the wrestling podcasts I love that like they're way high on AEW. Like they're like they do this well. Their women's division's dog shit. I'm like, yeah, yeah. I'm glad you're like it's slowly like this shit sucks.
Did
I
you hear
wanna
what
see
Kenny
more.
Omega said about the women's division?
Not something that probably didn't make sense, and you shouldn't have said it.
He shouldn't have said it. He should definitely not be on Twitter most of the time. But someone tweeted out about how they love AEW. They watch every single show. They never miss it. But the women's division needs a fucking makeover, and it needs to be different. That it's really bad and poorly orchestrated. He responded with, "You must not be familiar with our stuff. I suggest you start with Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Ishida from that pay-per-view. One, because it makes them fucking $60, and two, that's the match that just happened, and he was like, this is the best match we've put on. So it's also saying, start with the best, and you'll be continually disappointed as you go back. Instead of saying, move yourself through that story. He could have said, start with Hikaru Ishida's beginning and watch her matches as she progresses towards the championship. That would make sense. But he didn't. He said, start with the expensive match, watch it. And then the guy responded. He goes, I've seen all the matches. I've seen them all. He goes, that's just it, is I've seen them all. That's why I know it's bad. That's why I think it needs a makeover. And then Kenny's like, well, you should probably watch something else then.
He said, watch something you like.
Yeah, he said, you should watch something you like. Because we're really proud of our division.
WWE.
It's valid fucking
Yeah.
criticism. Like, there's something like God damn it! Like to me, it's like that. Like if I heard that, I'd be like, "Hey, that's fair." What like I could see you saying that to me. As, hey, that's fair. What don't you like? Let's talk about this, and I'll present.
Or
my
what do you
point
want to
that.
see?
Yes, like you're already opening yourself up. Like every part's like, oh shit, because the person's saying this, and it's like, he's Kenny. From their first tweet, they've watched it. Please
Yeah.
don't say watch this. Just say, I'd like to hear what's going through your mind, dog. What's going on? What
And
can we
dude,
talk
imagine
about?
this. All he did was make himself sound like a jackass and saying, well, we're not going to put on good stuff, so stop watching. When he could have made lifelong fans, because he could have said, you know what? I want to know more about what you think, knowing that you've seen all the matches. Is it okay if I DM you? And boom, take it offline, have a conversation with a guy. That guy's suddenly the biggest Kenny Omega fan that's ever been. And all the people who are teetering on the Omega thing go, oh shit, this just dude just DM'd a fan because he wanted some feedback. Boom.
Yes.
It'd have been incredible.
Yeah. No.
But instead, he goes, I like what we're doing. Watch something else. Get out. Leave. Get out of the
It
house.
sounds like-
You have to go.
Yeah, it sounds like, hey, you have to be on social media X amount of time, Kenny. Like, oh, well,
Yes.
this is going to work out perfectly. I'll have to pay attention. Kevin, you were
Producer
going to say
here.
something?
Oh, producer here.
Yeah.
Nope, it's Kevin's time.
It's Kevin.
What? No, you said producer here, and then Kev said something.
Oh, he had his hand up.
Hit his hand up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry. Kevlar had his hand up. Producer, you gotta put your hand up next time. Kevlar, go ahead.
On screen. We need to see it.
Yeah.
Um, no, like what Clump said, that Kenny Omega's initial response was just immediately shitting on the dude. Where he's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're not familiar with their stuff. Like, hey, he literally just said he's literally watched everything. But I just, it's weird to me that there's somebody that finally is actually criticizing them instead of just, yes men around him, like, oh, you're doing great. He basically just tells them, fuck off. And
Yeah.
that to me has been AEW's whole thing. Either you're a hardcore fan or you're not with Go Away.
It's not even a fuck off. It's a worse thing. It's and I'm sorry I'm cutting producer off about something. It's like it's just like, oh, great job, champ, and then
Yeah.
like not expecting more.
Real quick, we're going to get to the producer right now. Dorkchop says, weird that the Dark Order went after the Vegas Magician's assistant gimmick over the Freaky Monster. That is their gimmick, though. They're only going towards losers of the matches because they're trying to get people. They're trying to do what Seth Rollins successfully did with Austin Theory, but they're doing it unsuccessfully. They haven't been able to recruit anybody who's losing and say, like, look, we're a good alternative. We can help you because you haven't helped yourself and you guys look like shit. Why would anybody want to go with you? But Fabtina says, I'm just overloaded with these gimmicks. They all have to outshine each other, is what it feels like. And Dorkchop says, more gimmicks. But, you know, that whole ring gimmick thing I thought was a bit much. I didn't hate it, but when it came out, I was like, okay, we're really heavy into what's your gimmick, not can you wrestle. But it doesn't mean that those are exclusive necessarily. It's just how I felt immediately in it. Gozer says, LOL, producer voice is the best. Totally. And producer was very upset by that.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Oh.
It reminded me of when you go to a restaurant and you say, oh, I really want this dish, but, you know, can you maybe put, like, this on it, or can you change it a little bit? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely. You know what? Or, hey, we can't do that, but we can do this. Give a substitution. Like, I feel like the companies just, they don't care, almost, where it's just, like, if you went to the restaurant, and their restaurant would be the kind to say, oh, we can't do that. No, this is what you get. You should probably go elsewhere.
It's a Philly cheesesteak place.
Yeah, no substitutions.
No.
Yeah.
A Philly cheesesteak place. What's it? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, so
what you
there's
talked
this,
about?
I want to say it was Frank's out here or something. A buddy of mine went, and the guy's like, can I get the Philly cheesesteak? He goes, but no onions, I'm allergic. And the guy, like, grabs his pen from his ear and points at him and goes, I don't change my fucking sandwich for you. I don't change my fucking sandwich for anybody. Get the fuck out or get a sandwich like everybody else here. And throws the pen down. And my buddy's all like, I mean, it's not that bad. I could probably have it.
Yeah.
Welcome to
That's
Dirty Tea.
hey.
It just, my throat a little bit.
This, like that kind of response to me, it's not even that. That's it's so much that
That'd have been funny if he did that.
yeah. It's the
Your wrestling
fancy
division
restaurant-
needs your wrestling division needs a little upkeep. Your fucking face needs to leave. Get the fuck off Twitter forever. Like, oh shit,
I
Kenny.
would like it if Kenny said, you know, I'll go eat a dick. This is better. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's so much the oh well. Totally, we can do that, but like it's trying to convince you. It's no. I'm aware of what's on my plate. It sucks.
Yeah.
Are you sure the burger is overcooked? Yeah, it's fucking powder.
Oh, dude, I had a completely non-cooked hamburger in where was it? Georgia.
Yeah.
And it had minced up bacon on the inside, and I didn't even think about it. But I was like, "Oh yeah, medium rare," like I always order my burgers. What was it? Florida? It was Florida. It was Tampa. And so I took a bite in it, and as I got it, a little wiggly piece of fleshy bacon dangles out, and I went, "Oh yeah, there's bacon in the middle." I probably shouldn't have said medium rare, but they also should have cooked it at all because it was cold. And I thought that if I was working in the kitchen like I've done in the past and someone says I want something kind of rare-ish, but I happen to know there's pork in it, I say something like, we can do that, but no, because it's minced up within the entire sandwich, you could risk having undercooked bacon. It's better to have this one a little more well than you're used to and take it from there, which is a conversation I've had with people and you're allowed to have. But instead of just give me fucking bacon tartare and say, choke this down, you fuck. And the lady gave me attitude from the moment I walked in, which is also fine. And I don't say lady as in like, hey, lady. Like, it's fine. She was a lady. She was fine. But I came in, I did something on my phone. I look up and I'm looking, I'm waiting around. And then all of a sudden she goes, I'm waiting on you. And I went, oh, you are. You could have also said, are you ready? Those were your other options. That's not where we went with it. But, and anyways, Dorkchop says wrestling Twitter was a mistake. and says he's a total AEW fanboy and watched every match on Dark and Dynamite and couldn't tell you what half the women's division is even up to. They have like 1 or 2 running stories at a time.
Yeah. Like I love
Gozer
AEW.
also makes a great suggestion. We're going to come back to that. Gozer makes a great suggestion. He said, anytime someone donates 100 bits, Marsh needs to do the producer voice. Producer here, 100 bits just came in.
Burn and dead.
GR Lunar says, are you comparing that tricep tear to undercooked bacon? Oh. But go ahead, Clump, what you were about to say about the women.
I was gonna say more about Kenny. Like,
Don't look!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well-
Did you look?
Did
At
you
the
work
tricep tear?
something out, you pervert?
Oh no, I was looking in the chat. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, you can look at the chat. There is a tear
Oh no,
from Edge's tricep.
no, I don't look at that.
Don't look at it.
I hate
You will not like it.
I don't like.
Oh, I've already
I-
seen it. Yeah, it's
They
decent.
keep putting it on the shows.
Yeah, they always put, but no, there's like even more graphic ones on his own Instagram. He goes, if you thought that was gnarly, let's really get in.
Oh.
It's not that bad. It's just a story. I've seen worse. I like medical things. That's not ain't that bad. I
Okay.
saw a dude's hand go through a meat grinder. Ain't that bad. But
What's he doing?
Yeah, what do you do for a living that has a hand going to my meat grinder?
Yeah.
Be a producer
Cut
here.
meat.
Why might you be putting
he
your
cut
hand in a
meat for a
meat
period of
grinder?
time. He doesn't anymore.
Oh.
We're not letting you do this anymore. But what I was gonna say is, so Kenny on Twitter pisses me off, and I love AEW, and I love Kenny, but Kenny on Twitter sucks. Yesterday, he put out a tweet about, we're not gonna post an episode of Being the Elite, the Elite this week because of, and it sounded like because of things going on. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then they posted one today, and I was like,
Yeah.
then why did you say this week? Also, like, if you even say that, maybe pause for a few more than 24 hours.
Did you see what they said when they said it too? They said that they were scrubbing old episodes of Being the Elite from a serial sexual predator. I was like, you could have. I mean, I'm not trying to like stand up for a dude, but I'm just saying that was a pretty intense way to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, we're not gonna have the episode today, and the next day you're going like, "There's a serial sexual predator in our TV show. We have to get out." Like, oh, Jesus!
Why did you hire them in the first
Why'd you
place?
say it like that?
The other thing, too, is, like, some of
Sounds
their
like a
episodes-
Dateline special.
Some
Yeah.
of their shows for jokes and their sense of humor, I could see that being made into, like, a joke, unfortunately. And I don't mean that to be shitty to them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they just make
Like,
bad jokes. I got you.
Like, the other thing, too, is, like, with things happening and people that have been on their shows, like, there's a few people in this that are not looking great right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm understanding of with things like saying something like, for the sensitivity of what's going on, we are going to look into the staff we've had on this.
Yeah.
or the people who've had on this
Dorchop
too.
brings up a good point too. Dorchop says they could have also just done it without saying anything. Someone would have noticed them and given them the PR that they wanted, and it
Yes.
wouldn't have sounded so bad.
Yeah,
They made it sound bad.
that
Because
that
you said
sounds
serial like it happened so fucking much. How come you didn't see it? You know what I mean? Like you said it like it happens a fucking lot, man.
yeah.
I don't know.
No,
This
like-
just came off to me.
No, I agree with that. Like, I think Candice LeRae had a good tweet about it where they said this, my heart goes out, I trusted this person, they do this. And that's it. I feel like some of the things that have come out, like, when you sidestep too much to try and respond to what's happening, you also open the door to, cool, this sounds like something that's clearly been happening for a while. Didn't you have the voice and power or potentially ability to have said something?
Yeah. It kind of made me look over like, what? What's up?
I say thank
Oh,
you
the
to
poker.
our new 2 followers. Gozer followed and Carter the Rebel 1 followed.
Oh, and they don't even hang out in the chat. They just
Gozer-
followed.
Gozer-
Gozer's been in the chat. Franco, cheers! You only get a couple because you didn't subscribe. It's just a follow.
Wait.
What?
What the fuck?
You don't know Gozer subscribed. Gozer subscribed.
Gozer subscribed? All right, we can do a subscriber. Purr, 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 purr. Woo!
Cheers. You.
Cheers.
Why is he dying?
Yeah. Dorkchop says, shoot that money gun, baby, and subscribed. Dorkchop. Oh, that's bad.
What you do?
No, it's good. It's fine. Brr, brr, brr.
Oh yeah, and GR Lunar, yes, I saw it. What the fuck? The way you did that. I was listening to this thing where they were talking about the history of the lobotomy. The guy who did lobotomies, there's a story of him fucking up a procedure in front of people and saying, going up to the person's spouse and saying, for $1,000 I can fix this. That's him. I'm like, as you did that, I'm like, I get that now.
That's so dope. Can you imagine though, being all like? Can you imagine being in a scenario where you go, I can make $1,000 right now. You know what I mean? Clump just hung up. That's how mad he is about this. Clump is gone.
And I'm out.
Clump is so tired of my jokes, he legit just cut and ran. And he just said, "Uh-oh." That means he's shitting his pants.
Oh, do I have to call him that?
Or he's shitting his pants. Yeah, Dork Chop just says, what a way to drop some hard knowledge and dip. It looks like you got to call him back. Are you unsure of how to do that?
Give
Can
him
you just
a
call
minute.
back in? Can't you join the call? Oh, you can't see your shit either. He says, help me, I'm going to get yelled at.
Have him call.
Oh my god. Oh, here he comes.
There we go.
Here he comes. Woo! Here he is. The Clump is back in town. The Clump is back in
Welcome
town.
back.
Yeah, scratch my ear and I hit the hang up button. Fuck.
Oh my god.
No, we thought you got livid and just dropped some knowledge and dipped. You're just all like, Mike dropped that, bitches. I made $100 fucking up your brain. Boom. For 1,000.
We thought you were on your way
That's
to the
way
bowl.
smarter. I should have just not done anything. Damn it.
Before we move on from AEW, Ricky Starks made his debut for the TNT Championship with Cody Rhodes. Very good match. Such a waste of another entrance of somebody. They need to stop bringing in people just to lose. It makes them look like they have no business being here.
Wait,
But Ricky Starks is awesome.
it says
It was a good match.
we're
I'm okay with him coming in.
not offline.
Hey, can you guys still hear me? Dork Chop.
It says we're online.
So what do you mean we're offline?
Oh.
Oh, my device. Alright, no.
Oh no, it was
we're
just
good.
your iPad.
Sorry. Alright. That was weird.
All right, sorry to panic in the middle of podcast, guys. It's I apologize. Jared Lunar says we hear you, and Dork Chop heard me, and Jared Lunar says Jesus, and the whole it's all falling to shit. Clump, you can't just
Episode
dive
1.
out of a show and think everything's gonna go smooth after that. Yeah, thanks for coming in episode 1. It is our first show. You have to forgive us.
Alright, so Starks. They have to stop doing entrances.
Where every show is like our
Go on.
first show. So
We love
I
the
liked-
amount right now, GR Lunar and Dork Chop.
yeah, Dork Chop says I love this shit show. What I also want to say about it, how much I appreciate Dork Chop, he just said he's a total AEW fanboy who watches everything they do, and we are not the friendliest show to AEW. We try to be
Not the
fair to
friendly show
them.
to me.
We try to be fair.
'cause you like
personally feel that
AEW.
way, and yeah, and Clump loves AEW, so we try to at least present a positive side of it. I drink and I express my frustrations with their reffing, amongst other things. So I appreciate that an AEW diehard can appreciate the show as well and not hate us for sometimes going off the rails and probably going too far.
Why is he getting like positive praise for that when that's essentially what my role is, and I go to therapy and talk about this? Yeah, Angela, I was on the show and they were mean to me for liking a thing I liked. But
Dork Chop says
what's cool
AEW
is
has a
you're
ton. AEW says Dork Chop says AEW has a ton of problems that he's not blind to, and GR Lunar says Clump shut up, and I don't know what to say about that other than that makes sense to me.
Valid.
We'll start drawing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I did like the Starks debut. I thought he was like one of the highlights of this Dynamite.
Oh yeah, he was great in the debut, but in the match he was awesome. I think Starks is so good. We loved him in NWA. I think this is one of many debuts they had where the person comes in and loses to a higher talent. And I think that is not a way to build excitement for new talent. If you want me to see Starks come in and think, oh shit, this guy's going to be somebody, he shouldn't come in and take Cody Rhodes to task like every literal other person does. That's the other problem they have, is they've never established anyone's being dominant outside of Lance. And even then, Marco Stunt got some offense in. You know what I mean? Like, they've never established that it's easy to beat people sometimes. It's always been difficult to beat everybody every time. So they've had a really hard time, for one, just saying these people are much better than your average wrestler. And then on top of that, you're having people come in and have the same type of wrestling match as everyone else and then lose. You go, oh, he's not even mid-card yet. You go, no, you should come in with excitement. You should come in with a bang. You should... What's going on? Man, so much hate on Clump. Come on, guys. He drinks oil water. That's true. That oil tanker is where he gets all of his water. Indoor Chop says AEW has ups and downs, but overall it's a fun product and I like wrestling. That's fun. I watch NJPW if I want to see guys lay their shit in. And if I want 9 hours of depression, I watch WWE. And
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard took over. It's all good now. They fixed it.
My ass.
My ass.
We'll get into this. I'm all drinking up goddamn oil water. Forget this bullshit. It's already making it hard to talk.
He's like wafting his water. What are you doing? It makes me high when I waft it.
Yeah.
Makes it hit harder.
Oh wait, I got the super glue I can huff. Where's that at? Damn it, it's not.
Now, one thing I was going to bring up is I like that they're ranking everyone. Like, when their entrance comes out, they're like, oh, this is the number, 3 tag team or whatever. And because I always like the win and loss records. But one of the things that got me was MJF came out. They said he's 8-0 in 2020, and he's 11-1 overall. And his one loss came in a fatal 4-way where he didn't lose.
Yeah.
He just wasn't the winner. But yet he's never had a title shot.
Yeah. But Brody Lee got one.
And they even said that he's the number one guy right now.
Yeah.
But yet it's like, all right, well, why doesn't he have a title shot? Why isn't Moxley facing him at Fyter Fest instead of...
Well, he got Brian Cage because Brian Cage won Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
No, well...
Because he was debuting and he had
Because
to...
we got a shiny new object that we got to get over against and then crush with Moxley, yeah.
Yeah, and now
Don't say
fucking...
logical shit. He'll get it soon.
Yeah.
Writing it.
It'll
It's a good
happen when they
idea.
can write it in. The problem with MJF is he's not everyone's best friend. So when a new guy comes in and he's your friend, he gets the shot. So you got to wait again. I'm sorry, MJF, but my buddy's coming through. He's got to have the title shot, man. It's just not your time.
I'm sure there's somebody listening in on this who's writing it up who's just like, yeah, let me get this all set up.
He did it again, dude.
Oh, it's got the KK now.
Well, yeah, but just the one. He did it again. He's touching his head where his hang-up button is.
Stop it.
And he's
Clump.
hitting it.
If you're watching, Clump, stop doing that.
God. Let's see. Dorchop says, give MJF all the belts. Gozer, and everyone's laughing at Clump for fucking hanging up. Yeah, he's back! You can't keep hitting your hang-up button and wonder what the fuck is going on around here.
I wanted to look like a secret agent who's just listening in. God damn it.
You're the one who's not drinking, Clump.
I know!
Only one.
Yeah, I'm not drinking and I don't smoke anymore either. Fuck.
Yeah, and you wonder why we have to talk to you this way.
Yeah.
I don't want to be this way to you, Clump. You kidding me? You make me drink and yell. Let's see. Gozer says I do now. He sees why he makes fun of him. Take back my oil water comment. Dorchop looks really concerned about you.
Well, they're fair.
Yeah. I just imagine he goes over to his wife after the show. How'd the show go? I mean, they had a good time.
He's gonna yell at me too. It's okay.
You're listening on the podcast.
Yeah.
I want to explain what just happened.
What just happened?
The podcast.
Yeah.
See all this.
What? So Clump's called in and he keeps hanging up. I thought that was if you're listening to a podcast, producer here. If you're just tuning in now, Club lost call a couple times from the button and the push of the head.
I really appreciate producer wants to reemphasize how bad I'm fucking this up. Thank you, producer.
Yeah. For the podcast, can we really get into detail how Clump fucked that up a couple times?
I didn't say that.
That's fair. No,
For every
you didn't have
platform
to.
that
It's
we're
fair.
on.
Didn't say that.
No.
I'm gonna put it in the review. I really liked how the producer made sure, for continuity purposes, we emphasized how fucked up Clump is at how bad. We emphasized how bad Clump is in general, and specifically at hanging up and working a set of Bluetooth headsets.
What's funny too is if you're watching, you almost Hulk Hogan like get the hand up to the ear and then really push forward, and it's just like, "Pew!" And you're
Yeah.
like, that's where the button is.
Goddamn, whoever makes this headset that I love. Otherwise, the button is very easy to touch. I'm very cautious to move my hand near it. Like,
This button's not like other buttons, guys. This is a pretty easy button
hey,
to
you
get
have
to.
AirPods. You know what I'm talking about. You can tap that shit on your shoulder and it happens. And if you have fuzzy shoulders like I do, it happens.
When my hair gets caught up in it, I'll go to move my hair and I hang up on people. But the thing is I don't call
I've
back
saved my-
because I'm done.
Yeah, that's it. I
Yeah.
proved my point. That's why I hung up.
Patriotism over my headset. Sorry.
Yeah. Clump versus Buttons at WrestleMania 37. That'd be a good match. Dork Chop's booking it.
I'm putting my money on buttons.
Is it main
let's
event
see.
or pre-show?
At this point, Gozer says we could probably start a pool to guess how many times Clump touches that button.
It'll be a drinking game for you fucks.
Yeah. Oh, Button must hit that. Clump must hit that button again. Didn't. I didn't. What? Not coming back. Let's see.
You can place your
Was
bets
there-
on DraftKings.
Yeah. So apart from Ricky Starks being a huge highlight on AEW, is there anything else you guys want to talk about that you really liked? I'm still waiting for Taz to come up for something for Brian Cage that's his own. Because they almost did one this week and it was a little bit weird. And he's starting to use FTW now on top of Survive If He Lets You. And I just really, really want Brian Cage to have his own identity and not be Taz's gimmick over again. You know what I mean?
And Cage can talk. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Cage is great. I like Cage. I've liked him in Lucha Underground and in Impact. Cage can do things. Cage has
Yeah.
a fantastic, unique personality. I like him. Like he's like my favorite of wrestlers coming out in gimmick, like in like cosplay gimmicks. I've always liked Cage the most because he most fits himself as like, I'm going to be Bane.
Yeah,
Or Weapon
or
X.
yeah, he does some good ones.
Yeah.
Kev, was there anything else you want to talk about on AEW?
Well, I was just gonna say with the Taz thing is, it almost seems like Taz is like that overzealous parent that is trying to make their kid live out the life that they wanted and to play the sports that they wanted.
It's fucked up.
Oh, man, love Taz too.
It's fucked up.
Ew.
Taz is all like, I could have been a big star. I could if another generation, man. Generation too soon.
Man,
I see a lot of me in you, kid. I see a lot of me in you.
The whole time Taz was speaking in that promo, that's all I could think of.
Yeah.
I really
Go out there,
hope like
Snyder,
they
we got
don't.
this.
I really hope Kurt Angle doesn't make an appearance because Taz is going to have Brian Cage fuck him up.
Yeah. Heard him. Dork Chop says Swolverine is such a killer nickname. Swolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So we'll kind of hit through it because I don't want to get us caught up too long. I thought it was really important we have the conversation we had up at the top. Did you guys check out NXT, both of you?
I watched NXT.
I
you
did
watch-
too.
You did too? Man, you guys are going to be so pissed too. Kevlar is so pissed right now. He's never watched this much wrestling ever. And he's like, and now we're going to breeze through this shit. He goes, for the first time, I watched
when
all of it.
What the fuck did I do all week?
Yeah,
you-
what
you-
was this
you
about?
did that, and I was like, man, went to bed late as shit watching this.
I didn't know you were going to keep going on, but I thought you were going to be like, yeah, whatever. Sometimes people do shit. I didn't know you were going to have like thoughts about it.
You know, I'm trying to be deep and important. I like the sound of my voice.
Oh, come on.
What? What'd I say?
Your
So
thoughts
some
about-
highlights from NXT. So real quick then, really overall, Kevlar, this is the first time you've seen AEW in months. How do you feel about it? Do you want to watch the next episode?
If I have time, I'm not gonna go out of my way. Like I said, there's
But
nothing that truly drew me in, but at the same time, this is probably one of the worst episodes to jump back in on, just because all it seems like is they're just one big tag division.
Yeah, it seemed weird, dude. I mean, it started out with like that daddy getting out of that like challenger, and then
Yeah.
he looked like more of a leather daddy in what his gear. It was just weird, and then somebody threw up. I mean,
What?
like, and some like
Are you talking
yeah.
about NXT?
yeah, I'm talking about NXT.
We were wrapping up AEW with Kev.
Oh shit, never mind.
We moved on to NXT.
Yeah, we're wrapping up AEW and you started talking about NXT and stuff, and like we're wrapping it up with Kev, talking about what he liked about AEW if you want to come back, and then you just said, "Yeah, I agree. Let's talk something else." Go.
I have NXT.
It says NXT. Okay, we're talking about NXT then. Oh my God, Christ! Thank you
Pay
guys
attention
for
to the
tuning
boss.
into our first show. Every show is our first show. Go ahead, check out our Pro Wrestling Tees for Pointless Aggression shirts because we yell at everyone all day. Let's
We
see.
make it out of order shirt.
Clump's Dork Drop says, "Clump, just hang up again." Oh, great, he's gone. We need Clump back. He watched NXT. He usually doesn't. This is his week. So wait, Kevlar, you didn't get drawn in, but you weren't pushed away. You'd be willing to watch Fyter Fest.
Yeah, I want to watch Fyter Fest. I want to, like I said, I didn't. There was 2 single matches I think the entire night.
Yeah.
And Moxley wasn't there. Some of the other guys that I've heard of, Brody Lee wasn't there. I didn't have a match. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see them. And,
Yeah.
hopefully they can...
Paul Bob caught the little crop dust that happened, so that's good on him. He's got keen ears. So Fyter Fest is coming up. Real quick, we talked about it last week? We were not a big fan of them making it 2 Nights of Dynamite, just renaming it just because it doesn't feel special, right? That's where we stand on it. But I do want to see what they do with it. Clump, let's go into NXT. How'd you feel watching NXT this week? It's the first time you've seen NXT in a long time. You've caught little clips here and there, but you haven't sat down and watched the whole episode. What'd you think?
Man, I thought I had good bits, and I have to restate them, so it's kind of fucked up. Okay.
Yeah, get him.
Yeah, and the Damian Priest looked weird as shit. I like Damian Priest. I like his work in the ring, but his ring gear is weird. And then I don't like wrestlers rolling up in like the most masculine macho cars and in the weirdest goddamn like outfits. Like, just have him get out in sweats. I know he's working. What do I wear if I'm gonna do something athletic? What am I gonna wear to the show? Oh, cool. Probably sweats. You know what I mean?
Who drove up in a weird car?
No, he drove up in a normal ass car. Like, well, he drove up he had the like.
What am I missing? Who drove up in a car?
Damian Priest. Full
Damian Priest?
Black Challenger, and he
Oh.
got out and he exuded all of the like. He looked like he owned a store that made Rob Zombie gear. He looked like if New Metal was a person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He was in like straight up leather daddy ass gear.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, but
That's
if you're
right.
I'm gonna go work and get sweaty. Well, then wear the leather gear you're gonna wear in the ring, or also just I don't know, roll up in some Under Armours, because then other people are rolling around in Under Armours.
He's got to
I know
come.
it's
He's got to
weird.
show up dressed like an action figure.
That's true.
Then why doesn't everyone else? I don't like the lack of.
They all
continuity.
do. What are you talking about? Big Show comes walking up in his gear, and he's just there to give advice. He's there to wrestle. You got to be there in your fucking gear. You have to look like your action figure at all times.
Except when they're in suits for random ass reasons, or
No,
Keith Lee,
they'll make an action figure of you in a suit if you're going to be wearing one.
I have a Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure of him in jorts and a t-shirt. God damn it!
Yeah, see? Kevlar, how many suits action figures you've seen out there? You shop with the kids all the time.
Please say zero.
Maybe
Please say
one.
zero. Yes.
Well, didn't we did we decide
Those
against
Vince?
it? Did we not get the old man Ric Flair? Did we not get that one? I know you and I looked at it for a while when Toys R Us was still open.
Yeah, no, I don't think
When you
he
say
did.
old man
I
Ric
did.
Flair, did he have a like?
There's a
off-season
Charlotte's dad, Ric Flair.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
crying Rick.
Yeah, he looks sad. He's a little overweight. He's in a suit. The suit's a little big
Really
on
red.
him. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a frowny face, but it's perfect. It's exactly what Ric Flair looks like right now.
He looks like Sam the Eagle having a really good day.
Yeah, a good Sam the Eagle bit. Gozer says he's got the Drinking Buddies tag team shirt, and it's really comfy, and people should get it, and I think everyone else should. ProWrestlingTees.com/Wrestling on the Rocks. Cheers to that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, and or man, or person, whatever you may be. Hi.
So apart from not liking too much leather, which is a diversion from your personal life, what did you think about the rest of NXT?
I said I'm confused with Clump not liking leather.
It was it definitely threw
I'm
me
a
off.
sweaty, hairy man.
And yet you're the only one keeping your shirt on during sound checks.
Yeah, I'm wearing cotton underneath. Like, believe me, if I didn't have layers, you would see the sweat. You can see the sweat. Okay.
What'd you think of the show, Kevlar? What'd you think of NXT?
I thought it was okay. It definitely wasn't one of their better shows, and I watched it and then went through the recap and probably slept through some of it.
Oh, you know what you didn't get to see? I'm looking through. Karrion Kross was never out there this one, so you didn't get to see any of the cool Karrion Kross stuff that's been going on. You did get to see Scarlett come out and drop a what do you call them? Fucking sandbox things with the time?
Hourglass.
An hourglass in front of Adam Cole.
Sandbox with time.
That's how that works.
It's a litter box with time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a countdown litter box.
Yeah. Cat shit in it, goes down, filters it out, works out.
Shit was regular size.
Dorchop says Clump hates kayfabe. Wrestlers should always be in full gear. That's what I'm saying. He's so used to Kenny Omega coming out in his little tiny shorts and fucking sneakers every chance he gets because he walks from the back being like, why would I be in my gear in the back? Because I don't know who you are with your curly fucking fro, dude.
No.
Put on at least a Kenny shirt.
I am a
That's
man
how I
of
feel.
comfort. I am a man about comfort. To me, if you are going to do something physical, you wear something comfortable. It's weird as shit to me that you have to wear a suit.
You, more than anyone, knows how uncomfortable things can get when you start to do things physical.
Yes, you are not wrong. I worked in a job where I had to wear a three-piece suit and work around fucking cars in the sun in Arizona in the summer. That's some bullshit. You know what the
Need
sun
I
is?
remind
That's
you-
goddamn- Yeah.
Of my Bad Dragon tail pin.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
Alright.
tentacle pin. I got it for you deliberately.
It's tentacle. It's very nice.
Again,
We would- yes.
this podcast is
We
not
would
happening.
we would love a Bad Dragon.
They know exactly what's
sponsorship,
happening. I
whatever
just said what it
that
was. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Bad Dragon. Looking for a sponsorship or cease and desist. You know nobody works for Bad Dragon. Let them know. I can talk very highly of them, but I don't have to.
I actually
Right?
do know people that work at Bad Dragon.
Let them know.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, what the hell?
I will
Full time.
decorate the entire place.
Oh, no. No,
And
you won't.
glowing animal dicks.
The fuck you will.
That's where I come in.
Is producer not a fan?
We'll get her to be a fan. Sometimes it takes.
Oh, that- ooh.
What? No. What? No. I'm just saying. Decorations.
Yeah.
Sponsorships.
Yeah.
Just looking for sponsorships. Christ, I'm doing it's for the
Your
show.
Favorite company that makes marital aids that are bigger in circumference than Coke cans.
Kevlar, what was one of your highlights of NXT this week? One of your favorite things?
I don't know. There wasn't much. It was kind of like a.
You
Lie.
weren't a fan of
You're
a man
wrong.
growing up?
You are wrong. Well, first off, he's got to go, dude. Robert Stoner, whatever, he's got to go. But
Yeah, that was upsetting to me in a lot of ways, and partly him
Yeah.
throwing up badly.
yeah, I thought that was horrible. I will say, honestly, the big highlight for me, and it's going to be kind of a theme of the show, I'm really excited about Sasha and Bailey being the tag team champions and actually touring those titles like they said they were going to be when they first came out, and they just haven't been since they lost it. Because they were the first team to actually take it to all the brands and take it to NXT. Iconics win it. They went to NXT once and made a little promo and never came back. I want to say Alexa and Nikki stayed strictly on SmackDown and made very few appearances on Raw, if any. Kabuki Warrior stayed strictly on Raw and made almost no appearances on SmackDown the whole time they had it. So I do like that with Sasha and Bailey having it, they've taken it back to the way that it was originally told to us, and they're touring every show with it and showcasing people. I felt like the whole segment with Sasha and Bailey against Shotzi, Tegan, and with the interference at the end with Io, did more to make Io look strong than any of the several matches Charlotte had with Io.
Yes.
You know?
I'll agree with that.
Clump?
I thought that Shotzi.
All right, start streaming. Here we go. We're back.
Are you guys still there? Can you hear me?
We're back.
I need to switch over.
You guys are both really low. I don't know if it's picking them up.
Thanks for staying with us, guys. Give us a moment. Sorry, guys. We just got a different setup, so
We are the Keystone Light of podcast.
there we go. That worked. I think. Can you guys hear us?
I can
I
hear
see
you.
us. You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah, quick. You can see video feed from Mark.
Yeah.
Tell Clump to talk.
Clump, tell them what you think about NXT.
What?
Tell them what you thought about Bailey and Sasha touring.
I think it's cool that Bailey and Sasha are touring. I'm happy that this is open to love because I really don't give that much of a shit about that tag team. And I'm sorry, it's something hard to admit, but I'm not the biggest fan of Bailey or Sasha. I think it's cool as hell that Shotzi Blackheart goes down the tank. If Shotzi Blackheart went out in the tank on AEW, they wouldn't pause and worry about fucking up a barricade when they're getting with the tank, and I think that's respectful. I like the tank. Tank is like
Here's on.
We're back.
Yep.
Streaming. We're live.
Also, my headset, I couldn't hear anyone through it.
Yeah, it was really bad. Fuck.
We're live.
I'm glad. Was it? We're live?
We're live.
We're live right now. Oh, they're not on screen.
can't hear him.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
You can't hear what? They can't hear me?
Hey, can you guys hear us? Maybe?
He messaged him, tell him that.
Huh? Say something?
Clump?
Something. Yeah.
Clump, can you hear us?
Huh? Can you hear me?
Clumpy,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Is
I can
still
hear
an
you
echo
guys.
now?
He
little bit.
responded to you.
Yeah, but we...
Yeah, I think there's still an echo though, huh? Let's see if we can get through it.
The door
Nope.
chop says he... No?
Dorkchop's still with us? That dude's a fucking trooper, man.
And Gozer. Damn, you guys are awesome.
God, I don't know why it's echoing. I think it's just everything's breaking
Dorkchop.
on us.
Goes there. Here, thank you for sticking
Yeah, cheers, you guys, for sticking it out with us. This has been an interesting ride on this one. Looks like it's all back up. Was there anything else you guys... I know you talked a little bit about it, Clump, about Sasha and Bailey on their run. You're not a big fan of them, but you're enjoying the title run?
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm excited to see other people. I may have seen a bit too much of them for myself. Okay, I appreciate it. You also are like the biggest fan. It can kind of make it feel like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been very entertained by them.
Well, it's been good. I appreciate it. I like the performance. I like the match a lot. I like that they're going to everyone else and like gonna challenge on all the brands.
Yep.
Kev mentioned he doesn't, that he doesn't necessarily like that Bailey has both belts, which I can agree with. It's a lot of focus on one person, and I know that you're gonna say she's elevating the division. and that's fair, but it's a lot of focus on one person.
Yeah, I think I always thought it was. It's always kind of a bummer when they bring in one person who has a bunch of titles, but it can kind of work, and it's something we really haven't seen with the women's division a ton. To be honest, stuff we used to see with like Triple H and Stone Cold. What was it? What were they called? Authority something. Power Trip, 2-man Power Trip. You know, they had
Power
like
Trip,
the
Power
world, the Intercontinental, and the tags. Like, I mean, we used to see it from time to time. It is kind of neat to see it in the women's division right now. I kind of think they could get a lot of mileage if they put that other belt on Sasha, like they were hinting at.
It would be interesting, but I don't want it to last a long time. You know, because I really having the SmackDown Championship and the Tag Championship, I think it takes away a lot from the division. And definitely with, you know, AEW struggles with the women's division, WWE's women's division is like on point. And I think when you do that, I think it almost muddies the water a little bit.
I think it can. I don't think it has to. I don't know that you could do it with any of the other women. I really don't. I think that the way that they're handling it's really, really well done. And I feel like it's going to lead up to something big. I feel like we're getting somewhere because of it. I don't feel like it's... I don't think it's going to be this way for another 2 years or some shit. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so either. But at the same time, if it lasts till the next Mania and the payoff is Bayley Sasha, I think that's too long. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't feel like it should be anywhere else besides Mania. Like if this was at Survivor Series or Rumble, like I want the payoff to be at Mania, but you know maybe have a couple different title runs instead of just them holding it the whole time.
I think you can get to them at Mania without all of that going all the way to Mania. You can definitely have them lose some titles along the way as they start to deteriorate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think of SmackDown overall? You got the debut of Matt Riddle.
It was interesting. Going into it knowing the allegations, I was thinking to myself, hey, they're going to cut this, they're going to cut Riddle, and then seeing where they put Riddle, I was like, holy shit, they can't. And they couldn't.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, I was thinking the same thing. Like, man, they're gonna pull back a little bit on him, and then I was like, oh, they're really going for it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. They're all in,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that they had him come out too, and they really did kind of go with it. And I mean, I've just not been a fan of Matt Riddle for a long time, so I wasn't even all that excited. But I did think the AJ Daniel Bryan stuff going in was really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was good. That was a highlight. Yeah, the show didn't have too much. Well, looking through it again, because I'm like, you know, we saw Bayley and Sasha. It was cool to see Shorty G again, though I've never been a fan of the name Shorty G, so it's okay, whatever. It was cool seeing the New Day, but it kind of just felt like an okay episode overall. It was neat to see Bray Wyatt.
Actually, yeah, that was a great highlight. The new Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Or
It's
the
been
old
a
Bray
long
Wyatt.
time. Yeah.
I think it's Kevin's headphone. I think it's Bluetooth. Because me and Clump are both echoing, and he's not.
Yeah, I don't hear echoes.
I know, it's because it's happening on your side, dude.
I just hear voices.
Yeah, it's just every show's our first show. I've spent so many hours to make sure that it wasn't the first show. This show is supposed to be show 2 today. It was supposed to be show 2, and it's not. It's still
You know,
show
in the-
1.
In the chat,
Yeah, chat.
The Three Faces of Wyatt. I think it's very possible. And I think if anyone can do it, it's him.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that's actually where we're going with it, because I think it'd be fucking incredibly dynamic and interesting. And it's protecting the Fiend. I know that people say they don't think the Fiend works without an audience. I disagree. I thought the Firefly Funhouse was fantastic and no audience.
I think
But
I think they've done good with him. It's felt weird not seeing him though.
Dork Chop telling us to stay strong. We will have a show too one day.
Yeah. Just not anytime soon.
Yeah, just not fucking today, man.
Don't be distracted by our awesome website and
Yeah.
social media.
I kind of think, Kev, I want to see if it's possible if you just undo your headphone and just talk into your iPad the way you just normal.
All right.
Still there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Plump, do you hear me?
Turn up the volume.
Here you guys fine.
Very little echo at this point.
Yeah.
But it's like there a little bit, but not much. I mean, it's just what we got to do, I guess. I just got to buy everyone decent headphones. Guys, subscribe to the channel so I can afford to get everyone some decent headphones and some good internet. I got to get a new hub. Club, I'm coming by your house. I got to get that hub you promised me months ago. I need it.
Cool.
He just says cool.
Come get it.
Gozers gave us 200 bits. I know what that's for, but the producer here, very happy to get a little bits. Good. What? Wow, that was...
We just lost Kevlar. It is just Clump, which is cool, because at least
And
he
I
has
gotta
the right
focus.
headphones.
Kevlar,
Kevlar's not there. It's
Yep.
just Clump.
he'll come back.
Alright.
Door Chop's gifting people stuff.
Aww.
Door Chop being the man.
Thank you!
Thank you, Dork Chop. Is he back?
An empty couch is back.
Hell yeah. That sounds like Kevlar to me. I think bits give you a cent per bit. Dude, that's big time. It's big time out here. That'll get us some headphones for Kevlar. He needs some gaming headphones. Clump's got his sorted out. That's the whole thing. We just got to get Kevlar squared away. His only good headphones only last like an hour, and then we get drunk and talk all night. And it's not on him, man. He shouldn't. You know what I mean?
But I don't want to touch my ear and hang up on everybody.
Oh yeah, you're gonna touch your ear and shut the whole thing down. Dork Chop
Make
says
me do
big
it.
time stream, boys. That's funny.
Is there still an echo? Because I
No, you're
turned
good.
everything off. And...
Yeah, there's very little echo. Like I kind of sort of hear it, but almost not at all.
I mean, we're big, I guess.
Yeah, we're big time now.
We're not big time.
Oh, we're big.
Just big.
We're just large people.
And me and the crew.
So I would say Dork Chop says much better. All right, thank you guys for hanging tight, hanging with us, drinking with us. We appreciate you guys. You're our drinking buddies. What are you guys drinking? I'm gonna crush this gentleman, Jack, by the end of the night.
I like it. We started with NXT. I had the little banner up, and then you guys went full on, just moving forward.
We just keep it moving. We're a forward motion. We're a locomotive. This is the express train. No stops.
Before I even had a chance to change anything.
Yeah. Gozer said his drink even ran out a while ago. That's how much we fucked up. Oh,
Yeah.
you guys are like the coolest. And you know, in a couple years when we get to episode 2, you guys are going to be like, I've been there since episode 1. Years of episode 1, I've been there. And you're just going to be
All
you guys.
of them. I've been on
Yeah.
all of episode 1s.
Yeah. We heard every episode 1. You guys don't even know you episode 2-ters. So you'll be calling them and stuff.
Every single
Yeah.
pilot, I was there.
Yeah, every single one. Episode 1, episode 1, episode 1. Every day.
The Phantom Menace.
Remember we got so hopeful
So-
it was episode 2 and then it failed?
Dude, I was like, dude, we're doing it. At the end of it, I was going to celebrate episode 2 hitting it. And it was like, no, you're an episode 1 kind of show. Every show, episode 1. Best part is you never miss anything. So yes, I was super surprised that they went through with Matt Riddle. I am very curious what they're going to do next, because it could have been because of due to pre-tapes and timing and all of that. I don't know what it takes to put on a TV show, but I do know that it's not unheard of for them to start a thing and then stop it immediately vis-a-vis Lars Sullivan. So I don't know that it takes a ton of time to pull back. So I don't know if we're going to see anything like that.
Well, and it's also possible that it was not only pre-taped, but remember they had last week's fun bit of news was that there was somebody in the Performance Center who tested positive for COVID-19 when they had people present. So we were talking about, well, how much of this was already taped?
Yeah,
so they might
exactly.
not have the ability to re-tape stuff.
Exactly. There's all that too. So it's all kind of hard to say. At the end of the day, this is what we got. I was surprised to see it. The Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville stuff is kind of reinvigorated. At the time, I was a little annoyed about it, but hindsight, looking at it, I'm like, you know what? It's probably the right thing to do. It's probably good to lean into that and take it a little bit further.
Yeah.
The Sasha Banks Bailey stuff in here I thought was hysterical, and Nikki and Sasha was actually a great match. I liked all that stuff too. I know Clump is like, oh, it's too much Sasha and Bailey, but who the fuck else is holding up this whole goddamn show? What do you want this to be, the Braun Strowman 2-hour spectacular?
Look, just because you're the goddamn Sasha and Bailey, this fucking show doesn't mean you have to be like Sasha and Bailey. Period.
They're great. Look, if there was holes in their game, I'd be spitting all over it. You know it. Joe, a year and a half ago, I was talking about how much I like Bailey and how disappointed I was by every fucking Bailey moment. I was like, this is horse shit. I'm on the other side finally, man. This is the Cubs winning the World Series. We finally fucking did it, dude.
Boo!
Yay!
Boo!
Gavin's all like, all of a sudden I hate Sasha and Bailey.
Yeah.
And the Cubs.
Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, to sum up SmackDown a little bit, the idea of Bray Wyatt bringing back the Follow the Buzzards Bray Wyatt to try and take down Braun, I think is awesome. Do you think it's the second step of a three-way dance where it's going to end up with the Fiend, or you think this Buzzard's going to take him down?
I think it's going to be a three-way second step. I think they're going to try and milk it out, which I don't know if I care about. I think you could put the belt on Bray and it'd be fine.
Yeah, it's weird because I've never been a big Bray, I've always been a big Bray fan. I've never been a big Braun fan.
Yeah.
And I've always said that, sure, he deserves his moment, and it was obviously rushed because of COVID and Roman, and we still haven't heard of in 3 months. But they put it on him. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see where they go with it. And almost like Drew, I'm instantly sick of it.
Yeah, immediately. So tired of it so fast. He should have won the Universal title. Braun should have won the Universal title when it was red. Now that it's blue, he's got no business being around it.
He should have won it when he got Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. That was it. He should have done it. He didn't do it. They didn't pull the trigger. We're not ready to now. Speaking of pulling the trigger, Smog just donated a sub to Bearnanigans and shared rewards with 5 others in the chat. Smog, you're the dude.
Hey,
bah, 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 bah.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Aw.
Sorry, that almost never happens. I gotta. Sorry. I was startled. Okay. So
What the hell are you doing?
Welcome to episode 1, where it's the first time we've ever used the money gun. Don't look at our archives available on YouTube.
I just spilled water all over myself. Cool.
Did you? I hope we caught it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So,
Is it more
if it is the second step, I do hope that they use the Buzzard Bray Wyatt moving forward. Do you think this is a response to how well the Funhouse went?
I think it's just I could see that. I think it's trying to build on it in some way because I think they're they don't want this to get stale, which is good because Strowman's very rapidly gotten stale. I don't think
Mhm.
Bray as a champion got stale, but they were like, well, we could, pull this off because there's other people that could be. We can make it work, and yeah.
Okay. That was exciting.
Oh,
Oh,
Podcast was-
Christ. It's not even his fault. That's the fucked up bit. It's the fault of the fucking... The whole show fell to bits. Now Clump's falling asleep.
all full
He
of
br-
Cheez-Its. Hot.
Without Tapatio.
Without
That dude ate so
Tapatio.
many cheeses. You should have seen it, guys. The whole time you were gone, he was eating as many cheeses as he could fit in his mouth. It was insane.
Like a chipmunk. He was just handfuls. Just
It was like a fucking chipmunk, dude. Like it was a
I've
big
eaten-
bowl of cereal.
I've eaten a whole Costco box of Cheez-Its in like a day once.
I believe it.
No one's questioning that. I think all of us assumed that before you even said it.
That was a fun couple days in the bathroom.
no. Okay. What I was gonna say with Braun
I
and
thought you were
Bray-
gonna ask what happened to me there.
What I was going to say with Braun and Bray is that I think they're bringing back the Follow the Lizard Bray to establish storyline and the history that they have. Because I don't think you can do that with the Fiend. I think that they feel like they tried it and it didn't connect.
I think
You know,
that's
with
possible, but I do think that the excitement over seeing Bray do the Follow the Buzzard Bray during Funhouse, I think that went over very well. I think that that's part of the reason why I thought, hey, this could work. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that, God, dude, who's better than Bray right now? Honest to God. Who's better?
Kenny Omega.
At what?
Jasmine.
I was going to hold it until after the episode, but every time Marsh does the producer voice,
Yeah.
I can see it coming out of Kenny Omega.
Actually, that's true. Kiro Carito, you got a job with WWE. Didn't you own ROH a little bit ago? What's going on, man? Hook me up. Hook it up, man. Do you need a personal assistant yet? Just saying. I call it down the middle. That's awesome, dude. Congrats to him.
Pillows.
Woo!
Yeah.
Congrats.
Jimmy
Cheers.
Cheers. Eat Cheez-Its for you.
Cheers.
Pa, 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 pa.
Okay.
It's cool to come through, man. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Let's see, senior head of creative under Bruce. Awesome, dude. You're definitely gonna need an assistant. I'll move, man. I'm not beholden to this place at all. I don't know if anybody in here that I work with. I'll fucking quit right now, dude. I swear to God. That's awesome, man.
Congratulations.
The first time Bruce asks you for something, just go, huh? Just see what he does.
Hey, tier 2 from Smog.
Oh
So
shit!
sorry,
Smog hitting it with the tier 2. Pow, 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 pow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like our worst show ever, and we've been
It's getting all jammed.
Man,
You want me to shake my water and make it spray again?
man,
Okay, I'm on it.
this might be better for Clump to spray himself. Let's see. They legit had a job posting for head writer of SmackDown not long ago. Dorkchop says. Gozer says thanks for the coffee. Let's see, and then Kuro says, no, the first time he asked for something, I told him I'll have his job in 6 months. I don't know, man. He's taking everybody else's job, so it's gonna leave a spot open. It seems believable. Seems reasonable.
Leaves a spot for you.
Yeah. I want a refund. Yeah, I mean, couldn't even get it all out.
Here. I got it, guys. Just
He's got it. Clump's got it for us. There he goes.
okay. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yay.
Hit me up if you need anything. Tips. Ideas. A coffee. Whatever you want.
If you have like an extra title belt lying around that you want to just give to someone,
If you need new ring crew, say you know a guy. Awesome.
especially when you get through Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, wherever he comes through, I'll go, man. I will fucking meet you there.
They only come here twice.
Disappointed is what you paid for.
Yeah, they come and let us know where they're at, professionally speaking, and that's fine by me. That's good. Let's see. I think he comes and also watches and just watches. Let's see. That's a good thing, though, because if he's under Pritchard and creative, a lot more of our ideas are going to get some speed. And that is important for us as fantasy bookers. So,
DM me, I'll go wild.
yeah. You haven't even heard half of it. No, you've heard most of it. Anything else you want to talk about
Akira Tozawa,
SmackDown?
Universal title.
Oh, yeah, that guy's got it coming. His day will be soon.
Well, all right, never mind. Go ahead.
Wait, you going to say something about SmackDown?
No, about Akira Tozawa.
All right.
What you got?
What do you got? Well, let's move on to Raw. If there's nothing else you want to say about SmackDown, let's move on to Raw. What do you got about Akira?
I'm just saying, am I the only one, especially in today's climate in America, that is finding the Akira Tozawa with ninjas extremely racist?
Do you remember
It's a
the
little
Ninja
weird.
Turtles cartoon in the 90s, like 91, 92? The animated Ninja
Of
Turtle
course.
cartoon?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this moment, but in episode 1, there's a burglary that takes place. And the police officer says to the news person, "We haven't caught them, but we know that ninjas did this." And they said, "Oh my God, how do you know it was ninjas?" He said, "Because the rope they used to break in says made in Japan."
Oh.
This is a real moment that happened in that cartoon, and this feels a lot like that to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and
That's
don't get
exactly
me
what
wrong,
this feels like.
and don't get me wrong, I like ninjas. Ninjas are badass. But it just feels like
I've never met a good one.
not the right moment.
It's weird, yeah.
What? I've never met a good ninja. The best ninjas you'll never meet.
Okay.
Or never
I
know
thought
you
meant
met
something
them.
else.
Yeah, that's the point.
I thought you meant turtles. You never met a good turtle.
It's a good point. Most turtles I met are dicks.
Okay, so yeah, feels a little.
Yeah, definitely. The second he came out, I went, "Oh no!" Even a backlash. I was like, "This isn't okay. You can't do this. You can't do ninjas in this environment."
Well, if
Ninjas on
Nia-
motorcycles that they keep
Yeah.
saying that they're motorcycles.
if
They were
Nia
all
had
riding
that
Kawasaki
moment-
ninjas.
Oh, with Asuka?
No, when she was talking to Kari Sane a few weeks back, and she said, "Yeah, Japanese."
Yeah, that was
Oh, yeah,
pretty
no, yeah.
funny.
So I feel like they
So
have
we
a
can still
theme
bash
going.
on Japan?
That's exactly what I was about to say. It sounds like that Japan is the only open market available for racism.
Why?
Where can we be
Go,
racist but
full
not in
force.
trouble?
Yeah, that they're all like, okay, there's a lot of people, a lot of temperament going on, not allowed to say a lot of things, but you know who no one's protecting? The Japanese. It's time we go back.
No,
Open
And hit it.
season.
Yeah,
God.
it's definitely what it feels
So
like.
close to working with New Japan. So close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what they're. Are they watching this like, what the fuck?
yeah. What the fuck?
Every week.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely not okay with it in general. What do you guys think about Dolph Ziggler going in with Drew McIntyre?
Yeah, it hurt.
Very random.
It feels like we have. It feels like they're really trying to make a compelling story with Drew and anyone, and they can't. So, Dolph Ziggler's the next one to try for it.
I know, and I want to be so excited about Dolph doing it because I thought Dolph versus Drew would be something I'd be so excited when it came up, but it really feels like they just don't know what the fuck to do with Drew.
When Drew said, "You've become exactly what we hated," unentitled, and I was like, "That's literally his fucking character, Drew. Are you new to this? Have you not been around Dolph Ziggler for 10 years? He's an entitled dick. That's his character most of the time.
Yeah, he
should have
didn't
been
just
me to-
become that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have been me. It should have been me.
Yeah.
Did you get hit in the head again harder? Is that why you keep doing the same things that don't work?
Yeah. Let's see. Dorkshot posted a picture of some weird ninja I don't remember.
Says the
With Sonny Ono. He's with Sonny Ono. I don't know who he's with, though. Drew just looks kind of meh, aside from him, in my opinion. And I think the other thing is I think Dolph is so good on the mic, but Dolph is really quickly becoming... Or maybe it's not becoming, maybe he just has been for quite some time, but it's really become super evident that he comes in as a storyline placeholder. We're not ready to go to the next step yet, so we're going to have Dolph come in because they'll have a good match, and Dolph can carry the storyline, and he can carry all the promos, and it'll buy us some time to get to the pay-per-view we really have a good idea for.
Yeah, well, they got to do more fast.
Dorkchop says his name was literally Super Giant Ninja. You know, I could see that.
This is WCW, right?
No.
Yeah, this is WCW. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Vince Russo.
I was thinking, is that the Yeti? But
Let's
we're all-
see. Apart from the idea that this storyline seems kind of out of place and for no reason other than to get to the next thing, I do think that I was really disappointed by the idea of this match happening right now, to be honest. Let's see. I thought Nia Jax was garbage. You guys got any highlights that you really liked in Raw this week? Because I felt like it was a better Raw than most weeks.
Let's see.
I thought Nia Jax stuff was awful. Charlotte was all right.
No, Charlotte
what
was terrible. I hated that Charlotte got injured and immediately gave her an out in the championship match.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Like, it...
hated that.
Asuka can't get a clean win over Charlotte. There has to be some capacity.
Yeah.
Well, my understanding is it's to get Charlotte out of the ring for a while. That she's getting an elective surgery and will be out until I don't fucking know, man. I'm not an insider and I read bullshit and it's awful and wrong most of the time. But the rumor right now is Rumble 2021.
Oh.
See, and I understand that. That's fine. But don't have Charlotte have an out for the championship. Have Asuka rip her arm out of the socket, and then she needs surgery.
Yeah.
Don't have Nia attack her first, because all that does is make Asuka look weak, and she's your champion going forward, and they're still preserving Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And it really builds towards Charlotte coming back to go after Nia, which I would really hope Nia would be gone by then.
Yeah, no. And it further adds to the idea of Nia and Asuka, Nia being this, question, like, possible winner. And it's like, no, I don't see a benefit to this at all. Like, I get the idea, like, if going out for surgery, I can get that. That's fine. But I also feel like, who needs a win over Asuka? Charlotte. Or who needs a win over Charlotte? Asuka needs a win over Charlotte. I think Asuka deserves a win over Charlotte.
Which also kind of interesting. So it's like a clean win, but it's not, because she got the tap-out victory, but to a Charlotte who had potentially an injured arm.
Yeah.
But they didn't
There's
really
an
push the injury till after the match. They pushed it was stressed out. It was like bruised, and then Asuka fucked it up, and then Nia just fucking ripped it out.
Well, there was a interview in between the altercation with Nia and her match, and they said, Charlotte, are you going to postpone the match because of your injury? No, I got this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they definitely, because she had the tape on it. She goes, I'm a Flair, and I don't listen to things. I don't remember what she said.
It leaves just so many dumb outs that Charlotte doesn't need. Why do they keep doing this to her to keep her looking strong? They need to build other people. They need other people to look competent around her, and it just doesn't feel like that's the goal. It just feels like, yeah, this, nobody can beat Charlotte clean. People need to beat Charlotte clean,
Yeah, but that's kind of Charlotte's thing. That's why we hate her, is that's just how she is. That's how it goes with her.
Yeah.
Well, see, to me,
Becky gets the clean wins.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Becky.
Yeah, congrats.
But all I'm saying is that Charlotte, it feels to me like they're protecting her more
Yeah.
than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's helping Charlotte's case, because I think they're trying to me, it feels like they're trying to build Charlotte as a face. Like, hey, she's the face of the women's division. She's the one. She's the best. How many times did they mention, oh, this could be number 13 for her or whatever? And to me, it's doing the exact opposite, because, in my opinion, they're turning Charlotte against me, and I'm not liking it.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll look back when it's all said and done and Charlotte's career's over and I look back on it. I wonder if I really will think, maybe she really was one of the best. Because living through it, I really don't feel that. I feel like there's a lot of superior talent around her. And I feel like it's just the way that she's presented differently. Like, I honestly feel that both Sasha and Bayley are better in the ring. They're better at making other people look good. They're better at putting over talent as well as going over themselves. Like,
Well, she's the weakest of the four horsewomen.
I feel like she definitely is. I feel like it's not even a question, right? But other people
Yeah.
constantly saying that Bayley's the worst of it. And I don't know where Clump sits on that. He probably doesn't like Bayley at all. Out of spite, not out of actual any reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and don't get me wrong, Charlotte's athletic, and I like it. I like her.
She does a moonsault. That's not the same.
Well, she does other things that I don't know. They don't let anyone else do, but the way she moves and stuff like that. I hate her. I absolutely hate that. But
Yeah.
She moves like John Cena, and I don't mean that in a good way. She moves like she's learning.
but John Cena was teaching. He wasn't learning.
That's true.
She moves like she's got two left feet.
For hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just, I think WWE's trying to preserve her, and it's funny because all the storylines always bring up, oh, you're only this because of your dad,
Yeah.
and when you look at it, you're like, all right, they got some, truth there.
Yeah, they make it very believable.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, I can believe that she is mostly here because of her dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the whole bit, too. She does, like, a fucking moonsault, and people go, she's the most fucking athletic. Bayley does a reverse Frankensteiner off the top rope. Sasha does all these fucking weird, crazy moves off the top. That's the only thing that Sasha does off the top. And every time they do, they say she may be the most athletic woman in the division. I would be happy to hear a different argument, except for it's all right. It's at 20, except for they don't say that when she's doing other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She can have long matches, and they don't say, "Oh, this match has been going on for 40 minutes. She's one of the most athletic." No, they say that when she does a moonsault. That's it.
Yeah.
Which she misses a lot. Which so did Flair, and no one says Rick was one of the most athletic. They just don't say that.
I don't
You know
think
what I
she
mean?
cuts a good promo.
I don't think she does at all.
I think whenever they put her in this space, and I always every part, I'm like, yeah, you're decent, but I don't see it. And her promos really are to me the weakness, because initially, yeah, cool, you're good at being a heel, but it's not even like her dad. It's just in that it just feels stale. It feels like rehashing the same thing. There's not new reasons I'm a dick. There's not new stories. It's just I'm a bitch.
Yeah. And it seems so disingenuous almost every time.
Yes. That's exactly
I could do something better.
Yeah. Which is the exact opposite of Edge and Orton. How do they keep fucking doing it, man?
Amazing.
They were so good this week, the two of them.
Mm-hmm. And then
I was,
you
like,
put Big
pissed.
Show in there too.
And Big Show was amazing. What the fuck?
You know what?
Go ahead.
You know what this week reminded me of? And it
What?
sucks. But seeing Edge, then seeing Orton, then seeing Big Show, is none of the young talent has it, if you will.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
And it's like, wow, the future looks kind of fucking bleak. Especially
Yeah.
since they put so much in Seth. And Seth's coming around as a Monday Night Messiah. I like it. Him as a face sucked. But
Yeah.
seeing the old guys do it, or the previous generation, whatever you want to call them, like amazing. Like when you
Yeah.
have Triple H there, Shawn Michaels, Edge, Orton, Show, fucking great promos.
Yeah, it's
And
incredible.
then you have stuff going out there, and you're just like, what the fuck?
The only people I can think who even come close is I think that Becky had the same feeling when she was out there. I think Bray Wyatt has the same feeling where you go, oh shit, you guys,
Great,
you have to watch this guy.
yeah.
But apart
Owens,
from that, who?
Kevin
KO.
Owens, yeah.
Kevin Owens, yeah, he's got that on the mic.
Sami Zayn. It's pretty good.
I wouldn't
Sami
say
Zayn's pretty incredible, but I don't know if I put him on the same level as them.
He hasn't had his
He's
chance
not a
yet.
master of the mic. He might get there, and he's good, but there's this level, and then everyone else is at this level. And Sami Zayn, don't get me wrong, I like Sami Zayn. He's good, but he's not master of the mic or legendary status, if you will.
You know
The
what
New
it
Day.
is too? It's yeah, the New Day comes off that way, especially like Kofi and well, I mean all three of them are at their own moments.
They all
But I
have
think
it in different ways. Yeah.
I think the thing that keeps Sammy maybe slightly like close but no cigar is that he's so natural and comfortable on the mic that you feel like he's up there, but he hasn't said or done anything that's kind of given you pause or made you go, oh, or really giving you that emotion inside. He does his thing and he does it flawlessly and you go, oh, he's good, or oh, that's funny, or oh, what a dick. Like he gets across exactly what he's getting across, but he doesn't seem to get quite deep enough for you to feel what you feel when Big Show just throws the mic down and looks at Randy and says, let's do this then. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
the way they're able to get something that low, or the way that even Orton just kind of squints at Big Show and says, some might even say you're a legend. And then he just kind of squints at him. Then he goes, I don't want to do this show. You know what I mean? Like, in very little, you feel it very deep. Sammy doesn't make you feel that deep, but he could. And he is comfortable on the mic, where I don't think it would take a lot for him to get there, but I see what you mean. He doesn't make you feel that deep the way that these guys can make you feel deep with them saying very little,
don't
very
think-
softly.
I
Yeah,
don't
Sammy's
think
just the tier below right now.
I just don't
Yeah.
think
He's not quite at the majors.
I
Yeah.
just don't think he's had the chance. He hasn't had a story or a character that's let him be that.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, he's not
No.
been able to be compelling. Like, and I think that might be part of it too. I'll say this I get what you guys are saying, but the one thing I might throw to be devil's advocate for some of the new talent is, so these guys are coming in for a fairly limited story, with the exception of Orton. I will give Orton, when Orton's on his game, Orton's a motherfucker, and he's amazing.
Insane.
And he
It's
shows
insane.
that time and again. Yeah.
With
the
everyone.
other guys are the other guys are really coming into this. So it's not so much working working week after week on different stories and different things. It's a pretty singularly focused thing. Big Show's coming in with a pretty ready-made story, and he's not going to stick in this. So it sounds great because it's like, hey, this is what you're going to do today. You know what I mean? That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But no, I would say out of this, I think the person I have the absolute most appreciation for is Orton, because Orton, like, when Orton's in it, when Orton's trying, when Orton wants to do this, god damn, he's amazing, and his promo is if for nothing else, Orton's psychology should put him in the Hall of Fame. I don't even care
Yeah.
about his matches. His ability to just like question back to Kofi, back further with Cena, just always how he did it,
Yeah.
Oh,
Dork
Joe,
Chop agrees. Legend Killer 2.0. I will say quickly, Dork Chop and Gozer was going back and forth for a while in the chat about how much they love WCW. We're not going to derail that far off of the path. I mean, come on. But I'm glad you guys are getting along in there. Yeah. I'm happy they're making friends. But he does says that Legend Killer 2.0 Orton is he's sold on, and the promos are now better than ever. And it's insanity because when you really break down what he's saying. Like when he's all like, what does a snake do when you put it in a corner? It bites. All right. Well, I said that and you felt nothing. You know what I mean? But the way he comes across with it, you're like, feel like he's battling inner turmoil about it. Like, yeah, I could say, oh yeah, you back me into a corner and I fucking bite, dude. I'm a snake. You know, you can't just any creature you put in a corner is gonna fight their way out of it. Like, that's just the way that it is. But the way he does it, you go, oh, this guy's like fighting inside that he almost doesn't like. He has to be this vicious. Like, he's making himself a victim in it, like a victim of circumstance where I didn't have a choice. You made me do this. Like, it was crazy. And it's so good. And it's so simple what he's saying that you'd go, oh, anyone saying that as a wrestling promo is kind of a cookie cutter, trite kind of promo, but not the way he delivers it. Not the way he says it. No.
Yeah. No,
Well,
he's
see,
deli-
I think what Klump was saying is, when Randy's on his game and this and that. See, I think Randy's kind of like Cena, where when they're not at their best, they're still better than a lot of people, and it's almost underappreciated on the little things that they do that isn't like focused on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've said it time and time again. Cena carried Punk, and it's obvious.
Yeah.
If you're a wrestling fan, not even a wrestling fan, but if you know what you're looking for and you see the spots and you're like, shit, Cena's there. Orton does the same thing. When Orton is against somebody, he makes them better.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the talent nowadays can't put over people the way that like Cena and Orton do, where sure, you put them over, they win, good job, but you make them look good in the process.
There's very few that are doing it, and I think that, we talked about it earlier, the Fourth Horsewomen are a good example of that in the women's division, just because in and of itself, I think women's wrestling at this caliber is so new to us. You look at people like Charlotte, and you don't see her put on these amazing performances with everyone she's up against. It takes a certain talent to have a great match with Charlotte, but you put literally anyone in the ring with a Sasha or a Bayley or a Becky, and they're going to have the best match they've ever had. And you're not quite sure why that is, but it's because of the other talent. I think focusing on how do I make the other person look good. I think of it as the Jerry Lawler school of monster of the week. Just because Lawler literally couldn't have a bad match with anyone, and that was almost his gimmick, where he had a rivalry against Jimmy Hart, the manager, not a wrestler. His rivalry with Jimmy Hart was that every month or so, or whatever it was, I don't remember if it was weekly or monthly, I don't remember those details, but whatever it was, Jimmy Hart was bringing in someone. He goes, I got the guy who's going to finally get you in, Lawler. I found the guy. This is the guy who I've been looking for all along. He's going to assassinate you. And he'd bring out this big monster who maybe never even had a match before.
Later, Gozer.
Oh, Gozer's got to go? All right, Gozer, thanks for stopping in. Cheers. We really appreciate you hanging in as long as you had. Have a good one. Just check out on our podcast the rest of it. You can just download it.
Next week.
Yeah. But some of the guys, they literally, they've told stories. Lawler's told stories on his podcast.
With Charlotte, and
Sitting on.
I don't think Charlotte can bring. We almost said Charlotte's overrated with the fact that she can't bring other talent up to her level.
Yes. 100%. But I do think that there's other talent out there, and I'm not just trying to go on about the Four Horsewomen and how much that pisses off Klump, because he's like, Jericho makes people look good, but he doesn't, so he's off.
I don't like Jericho.
Yeah,
You
don't.
know this, champ.
You're goddamn right you don't.
Yeah.
Dick.
Bastard. Yeah, fuck.
Look at Natalya. People give Natalya shit all the time, but she makes people look great in the ring. And you can tell that they're getting... Everyone is better after their match with Natty. Everyone. Because everyone comes in, they do their thing, they try to have a story with somebody, it doesn't work, then they put them with Natty, and then they figure it out. That's not an accident. That's because that's how good she is. She can help you figure that out.
Like Lana.
Like Lana. And I do think that that's true for Randy Orton. You go in the ring with Randy Orton, you come out different. And if you watch The Last Ride, which you didn't because you guys are dicks, He does talk about his match with Undertaker, his first match on SmackDown, and apparently Orton goes back and talks about a story of when they went backstage after that because he got a ton of his shit in. Vince looked at Undertaker and said, "What the hell are you doing taking all those bumps for this kid?" And then Undertaker said something like, "I'm making him a star. I thought that's what we do here." But that's like the mentality where, like you said, so many people are more concerned about how do I look good. And Charlotte, to me, comes off 100% of how do I look good in this match. And unless you're a strong enough personality to say, okay, but we're doing all this other shit too, and just so you know, I'm also winning, like, it's not going to happen. I think it happens all the time.
The selfishness and the looking at the long picture of things.
Yeah.
And I think, and I don't mean to bash on Charlotte anymore, but to me it just seems she's just trying to break her dad's record. And it almost feels as soon as she does, she's done.
Yeah, I could see that. Breaking or tying or something. I could see her wanting to break it too, just because Cena didn't. What do you think about Liv and Natty being together? Or
I like
Liv,
it. I like
well, hold on. Liv and Natty are in a rivalry semi, but Natty and Lana. What do you think about Lana and Natty being together? Go ahead,
that I
Club.
don't like.
Hey, whoa, no, you started with you liked it.
No,
So
I
hold
like
on.
Liv and Natty's match.
They
I
do
like-
good together, right? Don't they work well together?
It makes.
I
no
want
sense
them
for
to be a
have
tag team.
Natty I don't want Natty and Lana together because
No.
I don't want Lana on anything. I want Lana gone rapidly.
100%. I think Lana
Yeah.
could have a very fine career doing literally anything else in the world, and I'd be happy with that.
Yep.
Go be happy doing literally anything else. You have no business on my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like them paired together. I think it's interesting if you're a fan of Total Divas, which of course you would be. Why wouldn't you watch every episode all the time? Natty and Lana had some major beef in that show and were yelling and slapping each other. This thing. What just happened? Did someone's headphone die? Did you plug your headphone back in? What just happened? What's up?
Okay.
Oh, Clump fixed it?
Yeah. He said okay, and then something happened.
Oh, no, he's out now. I can't even hear him.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Clump, you've died. Oh, there you're back.
There.
Oh,
Clump's back!
no, I'm here.
All right, good.
The resurrection of Plump.
The resurrection. The Clump is back in town. Kevlar, what do you think about Natty being with Lana? I don't like it.
It's awkward and it feels forced. It feels that like we were just talking about, that Natty has carried the division and she's the senior woman, and it's like, hey, she's struggling. We've invested so much time and effort in her, and it's like, here, you take her.
Yeah. It feels a lot like, hey, we signed her. We don't know what the fuck we're supposed to do with her. Go hang out with your friend or something.
If you can't make this better, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
This is your last chance.
We already talked about Orton and Big Show. I mean, and Flair being in that. I mean, that honestly was one of the better segments we've seen in weeks. And it reminds you just how good these guys are at this. Man, I even went back and rewatched Stone Cold's Broken Skulls. Have you guys been watching any of that?
I watched a few. I watched
I've
the
seen a
Undertaker
couple.
one. Yeah.
Seen a couple. Undertaker one's amazing. Brett is fucking incredible. They get really into the wrestling on it. Like if you're a diehard wrestling fan, watching Brett and Stone Cold talk about wrestling, they get into details, and I'm like, whoa. I remember going into it, my brother told me, hey, you're going to love that episode. They get really into it. And I was like, okay, whatever. Because I'd seen a few of the other episodes, and I was like, whatever, they're going to drink and talk about, oh, it was funny getting into the business. I spent almost the entire show just jaw open, like, I can't believe they're talking about this. This is everything my childhood ever wanted them to talk about. But it reminds you of, like, how good these guys are. Big Show did one on there, and the way they talk about what's missing in wrestling today and what they would like to see in wrestling is not just stuff they talk. It's not just lip service. It's not just old guys saying, hey, you got to slow it down, and people saying, whatever, old man. They show you. They're showing you all the time. Randy said it in his interview on After the Bell. Big Show said it on After the Bell. Edge said it on After the Bell. Cena said it on After the Bell. They want all these guys to slow down and really talk about the meaning and talk about what it means. And, really focus on the psychology of wrestling and how important the promos are and stuff. And these are guys that show you. And, I mean, Edge and Orton, greatest wrestling match ever, was an incredible wrestling match. And they showed you what it took, to have such a great match. And I think it's not an accident, the things that are missing from that match. I think there's a very real reason why there wasn't. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I think back on it, I think about a bunch of moves that happened, a bunch of spots, but I think about a lot of selling. I think about a lot of just laying on the mat. It was a slow match, and no one felt it was slow because they did it right, I don't know. I'm just talking up the old guys.
You also want to mention, a little off topic, but Ric Flair being in ring during these heavy virus times, heavy COVID times, is a little scary to me.
Yeah, I was a little nervous with Ric Flair being out there. How do you guys feel about Ric Flair being out there? He looked a little swollen in his face.
Yeah,
Do you think he just put on a little weight, or do you think he was?
He's a person whose life's been forever altered due to medical circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of really significant surgeries of late. So yeah, he's being upfront. That kind of like the way I'm seeing it, this is a guy who's very. We don't know, and I don't think he would even say how ill he was, but I don't think he should be out there. I'll say that much.
I don't think there's anyone with a worse medical history.
Yeah, he's walking slower. It's not him doing the same kind of slow walk. It's a limp. It's a gait.
Yeah. Also, Dorkchop says every episode of Broken Skull has been great, and that's true. I can't discount that. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, yeah, and seeing Rick out there you can tell, obviously, that he's in his latter stages of life.
Yeah.
He's labored more in his walking and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you watch it when Orton's speaking, the pure joy on his face in the background that they kept trying to cut out
Oh yeah.
was amazing.
Oh, he loves it.
I love this right now.
Yeah.
The fans might not be there, everything else might not be there, but his life has been wrestling.
And how telling was that? You know what I mean? He loves being in the ring so much, it doesn't even matter. There's almost nobody out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, they kept focusing slowly on Randy Orton's face, trying to cut him out, but he was in the perfect position where you could see him and he's just ear to ear smiling, gleaming, this is what I love, this is my passion. And obviously I wish the best for him, but it's holy shit, if he died tomorrow, he'd be happy.
Yeah, he would. I mean, and we'd all be heartbroken. I keep thinking about that too. What happens if Flair's the first wrestler to go because of COVID?
Ugh.
You know what I mean? How fucking furious would we be? But also knowing full well that he's out there because he fucking wants to be out there so bad.
Yeah, it's his
fucking,
it's his,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's his life. It's his passion.
They found.
But that's not something
Seeing
necessarily.
how he was out there behind Randy Orton was amazing.
Yeah.
But that's not
100%.
a reason to have somebody out there, though.
No, 100%. They need to tell him no, but it's one of those things where it's I hope his love for this business doesn't kill him for something reckless. Especially after everything he survived.
Yeah. But, at the same time, are you going to be the one to tell Ric Flair, no, don't go out there?
Maybe.
I mean, Vince is still on all the shows, right?
I suppose Vince is out there, so I don't know. But maybe, I mean, it's like that whole thing with Daniel Bryan getting his match cut short with a concussion, and he goes back and, who called the match? And he's like, it's Triple H. And he was like, fuck that guy. He wrestled with 2 torn quads, And then Triple H is like, yeah, but maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe someone should have stopped it. Maybe you do be the guy to tell Ric Flair, you can't do this, man. You know, I don't know. Let's see. The women's tag match I really enjoyed. Actually, with the Iconics, which I don't really like, but we've already talked about them enough. But I am excited about the Sasha Banks Asuka match coming up. If nothing else, no matter who wins, it's going to be an amazing match. Sasha and Asuka, it's going to be great.
Am I the only one that was expecting the whole time in the match that Peyton was going to turn on Billy?
Oh, I didn't think about that at all.
For whatever reason, it was just kept popping up. It was like, oh, she's going to do it right here. She's going to do it right here. And obviously she didn't, but I started thinking, I was like, is this the, almost when is the Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty thing happening here? And don't get me wrong, neither of them are in either of their categories, but
Yeah.
you have them together, and I feel Billy's holding Peyton back. Not necessarily meaning she's going to be championship material, but
she could be. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people were replaying on Twitter on I want to say the last Iconics. I think it was a triple threat actually, and there was a sequence in there with Sasha and Peyton that was just chain wrestling, just some legit nice chain wrestling, and a lot of people were replaying it saying like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize Peyton was this good." And so I think that there's a reality to that. I really do think that Peyton could very well be holding back, or Billy could be very well holding back Peyton from a successful singles career. Because if she can wrestle at that caliber, yeah, there's absolutely no reason why she couldn't be a champion, except for that she's with Billy.
And you pointed out that NXT, they weren't.
Yeah, at NXT for the most part, especially by the time it got to the end, Billy Kay was nothing more than a valet for Peyton. You know, she would go out there and she would cheat for her, and they would cut their promos, but Billy almost didn't wrestle at all by the time they left NXT, and that was working just fine. So, I don't know, it makes me think. The only other two things that were left in Raw was Seth Rollins and the Rey Mysterio stuff, and MVP and the Apollo Crews stuff. Except for Ruby showed up with Liv. I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Very quick.
Very quick, nice little tease. Excited to see where it goes. What do you think about that, Clump?
That'd be cool to see where it goes. It's again really quick, so not too much until I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I think it was a nice teaser and could really lead into some cool stuff. As far as MVP and Apollo goes, I'm really liking that storyline and happy to see that play out.
I like seeing MVP fleshing out his character, and like seeing Apollo be put to the forefront. I was worried that this would become more and more of a Bobby thing, like a Bobby story. I like this, and it's also giving a lot of attention to a lot of performers.
Yeah,
You're seeing Shelton Benjamin come out, so I'm
Yeah.
liking it a lot. And yeah, I like Apollo a lot. Apollo's an athletic ass dude, and I've said this before, I like seeing like a face that isn't doing like, if you're gonna cheat on me, fuck it, I'm gonna cheat too. And I like that. Like, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You fucked me over. Yeah, cool. I'm doing this.
Yeah,
So when you
no,
pull the
absolutely.
trunks yeah. And Apollo's gotten way better on the mic.
Oh, he's gotten much better on the mic. Yeah, he's doing so good. Real quick to circle back, Dorkchop says Ruby and Liv back together, and then the next day Sarah Logan says she's done with wrestling. Oof, that's funny.
Yeah.
I'm really excited with what MVP is doing, how he's being presented. Really excited with Apollo Crews and his new music and everything. And really like seeing Bobby Lashley as a monster. And Shelton Benjamin seems something. Ooh, let's keep it going. Cheers.
Avengers.
Yep.
Seeing Shelton Benjamin come out there week after week and putting on great performances with Apollo is not a surprise, and it's amazing and fantastic. And yeah, these are easily four talents that have just been sitting in the back doing nothing for no good reason, while the United States title has been sitting on somebody who's doing other things most of the time. This is the exact use you should be getting out of the United States title.
Yes.
I had a stroke through the whole thing of that. But I feel like this is 100% what you need to be doing with the U.S. title. This is what it's for, to elevate four other talent who are otherwise doing nothing, who are four other talent who could easily at any point in time be in the world title picture, and it's not a surprise. This is how you prove that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there go our headphones.
It's all right. No, we got 10 more. 10% more.
Alright.
You guys there?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we got 10% more, so we got the last topic.
You there?
Mysterio and you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
I saw Clump's lips move, but I didn't hear anything. So,
Yo.
Clump was
I'm here.
just mocking me, is what that was.
I didn't hear anything. Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
So.
He was doing his Mars voice.
Do you still not hear anything?
Out loud.
Oh, I'm hearing them. So put it in. So Mysterio and Seth Rollins. I really like to see this thing getting hashed out the way that it has. What do you guys think of it?
I like it.
Good.
I was gonna say I like it. I like that Dominic's involved. There's been rumors that Dominic has been at the Performance Center for a couple years or a year, and it brings light to other people. Whereas a lot of this other things, it's like, hey, it's this person versus this person. That's it. Aleister Black is involved. Humberto Carrillo is involved. Buddy and Austin Theory. There's a lot of people involved in this, and it's basically mid-card because the championship's not involved, and it's great, and it's almost carrying a lot of this.
And I love that all these guys are in there essentially to protect Dominic and to help Dominic learn and look good throughout this whole thing. If you told me, hey, Rey Mysterio, his son, Aleister Black, and Humberto are going to be kind of a little faction against Seth Rollins and a couple guys from NXT, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
But watching it kind of like play out, I was surprised at how much I liked seeing Aleister, Humberto, Rey, and Dominic together. And I think part of that, what's weird is that I almost wish we had more Mysterio Aleister Black matches. I don't remember having any, but seeing them together on the same team makes me realize how much they haven't wrestled together. And I thought they could probably put on some terrific matches. But Humberto constantly under the learning tree of Rey Mysterio and Dominic, obviously, as well. But having Aleister Black in the mix of all that, just kind of almost for no good reason other than he doesn't like Seth, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't work, and it works. It's perfect.
Yeah. I'm down with it.
Where else are you going to throw Aleister?
I said, what?
I said, where else would you put Aleister right now?
Exactly. There's no good spot for him, which is why when he was out there, I was like, this is probably the right spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, anything else?
Unless there's anything else you guys wanted to bring up. Was there anything else you guys want to talk about?
That's it.
Yeah.
Dork Chop says Humberto seems good. I just can't get into him. He's super athletic, but I haven't cared about anything he's doing, and I agree 100%. I think we all agree to that. Although Dork Chop has a question that he highlighted with points. Before you head out for the night, can I ask you guys a question? I'm a fan of OSW reviews. Not sure if you're familiar, but check them out on YouTube. You'd love it. Oh, they can't hear me right now? Fuck. Dork Chop says, derailed it again. What have I done? Dork Chop, can you still hear me? If you can still hear me, let me know right now.
Yes.
He says yes. Dork Chop, here's what I'm going to do. The other guys, all of our audios crashed on them. Our headphones totally died. So what I'm going to do is I've screenshotted your question. We're going to start next week's episode out with it, and so it'll actually give us a good time to break down who our favorites would be in that regard. So we're going to open up next show with your question, okay?
See that Kevlar just came back.
Yeah, Kevlar comes walking back. Dork Chop says, perfect, let it brew. So I'm going to position that question to Clump and to Kevlar. We're going to take all week and figure out who our 5 would be and come up with a perfect faction for you so we have a good, concise answer that we could really break down instead of trying to wing it real quick here at the end as fast as we can. So what we're going to do is last call. Thank you guys for hanging in, for hanging tight. It's fucking crazy, and it's been our best episode 1 we've ever had. Cheers for coming
Oh my
through. Thank you so much. Check us out, wrestlingontherocks.com, for all of our links that will give you our YouTube, our Instagrams, our Twitters. If you go to the About and click the
cool.
About, you can get everything about everyone, all the hosts, all of our social medias. And
Cheers, dude.
if you go, from there you can get everything. And as far as the podcast goes, you can subscribe to us, give us a like, give us a rating on any podcast platform you can find. We are still a couple episodes away from hitting the Spotify network, but we're on almost every single other network. And if we're not on the one you want, send us a quick tweet. Let us know which one it is you want us on, and we'll get there. Cheers. Thank you guys so much for hanging in. We'll talk to you next week. Last call.